The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, April 20th, 2026 is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Andrews.
Present.
Councilmember Bergen.
Here.
Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Horton. Councilmember Jackson.
Present.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Wiles.
Got some calming.
There's a quorum.
Please join me in an invocation. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industry, sound education, good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there will be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the entire community. Amen. Let's see. Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called upon to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Executive session update. During executive session, we discussed labor negotiations. Motion is in order for the approval of the minutes from April 6, 2026.
Mayor,
Councilmember Bergen.
motion to approve the minutes.
Moved by Councilmember Bergen, seconded by Councilmember Hancock to approve the minutes of April 6, 2026. Discussion? I see no discussion. Call for the question on the approval of the minutes from April 6, 2026.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Andrews. Councilmember Coombs.
Yes.
Councilmember Horton.
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
I do not have the quorum. Skip it. Okay. Okay, I did that.
It's a fire. Yeah.
Motion is in order for the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
so moved.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
I second.
Seconded by Councilmember Andrews for the adoption of the agenda. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Horton.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to move into the period of public comment. We ask that you do not speak on any specific agenda items, and there's a legal reason for that. The legal reason is that anything you say during public comment doesn't become part of the record on the actual item that you're here to speak on. So I know a lot of you have signed up to speak for 11A1, which is regarding the memorandum of understanding for the GEO facility. Please wait until that item is called to speak about it. If you have signed up incorrectly on the wrong item, please go down and see our city clerk. Raise your hand, Cecilia. There she is. She will get you figured out. But again, we just ask that it's for your own benefit, for your testimony to be on the actual item when it comes up to the agenda. So with that, Mayor, go ahead.
Public invited to be heard.
Okay, the first speaker is Faryal Mian, followed by Jeffrey McFarland.
It isn't possible to switch to speak.
Are you? Jeffrey McFarland, followed by Aaron Fuchel.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Jeffrey McFarland. I live in Ward 1 of Aurora. I'm a member of the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. For anybody that doesn't already know this and doesn't already know the spiel, what that means for us is that means we want full police accountability. And what accountability means for us is not more town hall meetings and not more community committees. It's not more, let's see if one study session somehow represents 130 square miles and 400,000 people in one place. Police accountability to us means a CPAC, Civilian Police Accountability Council. And what a Civilian Police Accountability Council can do over what everybody else keeps positing and using the word transparency like it means something about is that a Civilian Police Accountability Council would be able to subpoena officers, would be able to hire and fire officers, would be able to dictate budgetary decisions for officers. It would be made up of people who are actual residents of the districts that they live in. The people most affected by policing are the ones who deserve to have the most say in it. So for those who think that's ridiculous, and that is anybody that's still listening, because it's not about half of these motherfuckers up here. What that means is that we get the say. And if that sounds ridiculous, well, you know what I think sounds ridiculous? I think it's ridiculous that Todd Chamberlain and his goons answered a mental health crisis call with a canine unit. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think it's pretty ridiculous that then when the man attacked the dog, let's be clear, the 23-year-old victim attacked the dog, the press said it was an officer. They didn't bother to mention that it was a fucking dog. They just said it was an officer. That's an interesting way to shape a public narrative. And for the record, I do feel bad for the dog, but that's because police dogs don't have, they can't give consent to the job they're forced to do, unlike the humans that do it. So, police accountability, ridiculous. Police accountability where we can subpoena officers, ridiculous. Answering a mental health crisis call with a fucking dog, apparently not ridiculous. You know what else is apparently not ridiculous? That 2 unarmed black men in a year were shot within 8 seconds of a police response to their own parking lot. That's kind of crazy. You know what else is crazy for anybody that doesn't know this already, and if anybody doesn't know this already, that's kind of crazy too. Todd Chamberlain, our current police chief, was an LAPD officer. He has been indicted. His police departments have paid out lawsuits for racist and problematic behavior. He was chosen as Aurora's police chief in the middle of the afternoon on either a Monday or a Tuesday, I think, by Jason Batchelor and the rest of the fucking yahoos that aren't here anymore. No community oversight, no town hall, no input whatsoever. So that's what people like me and people like the people that have showed up here today to speak on the MOU, that's what we're trying to do, is get actual accountability over our actual law enforcement as opposed to continue to let them police themselves. For the record, Todd Chamberlain has never once shown up here, not a single time, ever. The deputy chief showed up and told us about how his little memorandum was going to fix things and clear things up. But that's not an agenda, or I shouldn't speak on that right now. My point is that Todd Chamberlain should be fucking fired. And if you don't fucking fire him, Jason, then he should fucking resign. And if he doesn't want to do that either, then we're going to keep coming here and we're going to keep bringing more and more people that are going to be just as mad, if not more pissed off. Community control of the police now. Thanks. Fuck y'all. Bye.
Aaron Purcell, followed by Amy DeWills Marcano. Aaron Purcell, followed by Ali DeWills Marcano. Ali DeWills Marcano, followed by Adrian McCullough. Sir, Ali DeWills is coming, yes, please. If you're Adrian, you'll be next.
Okay.
I feel very tall. Good evening, City Council. My name is Allie, and despite missing last week, I have not moved. Oh, I knew it wasn't that fast. Okay. Despite missing last week or last meeting, I still live in the same place. I'm still a resident of Ward 4, and I admit to being a little bit unprepared tonight. I wanted to first and foremost, as always, continue to advocate for and truly demand a better and more accessible chambers so that people like me can speak to our city council. I came 2 meetings ago and asked you all to please be prepared to tell us what the most recent update is on whether or not the money has been allocated to a specific firm for the redesign of these chambers. I really do hope that somebody can provide that update in your comments either after this or in your comments at the end of the night. I would really like to know what the status of that update is. Additionally, while we're talking about accessibility, I wanted to call out that there are several ways that these chambers could be made to be more accessible that aren't just the elevator, and that these meetings could be more accessible for people to join. First and foremost, I really want to encourage you to bring back remote attendance in these meetings. I really want to encourage you to, on these screens here, we should have the closed caption activated. Even if it is wrong, sometimes it is still helpful for people with auditory processing disorders or who are hard of hearing to have some of the words up there on the screen. That should be a very easy fix, should be a very quick change. I don't know if you guys would need to go through a rules change for that, but if you do, I strongly encourage you to do so. Out of things, like I said, I wasn't prepared today because the agenda packet was only available online at a very late date. And frankly, as a resident of Aurora, I know you understand, as most of you all have to have full-time jobs in addition to your council work, but I did not have the chance to read this packet this week. It was pretty extensive, and I'm someone who is, I would say, pretty freaking plugged in to what's happening in Aurora, and I have been unable to keep up with it. I just want to call out that that also means that the average residents in this city are also not able to keep up with it. We used to be able to get that agenda a full week ahead of the meeting. I'm really asking you to consider bringing that back, make the agenda available a full week before the meeting, and cut the 1 p.m. timeline, and allow people to sign up for public invited to be heard here at the venue, because this is not accessible as it stands. Thank you. Sorry for not being prepared. Have a good day.
Adrian McCullough, followed by Yesenia Reyes.
For those of you who don't know, April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. And the reason I brought it up is quite simple. Back in 2017, when I had a car and I was struggling to keep it in my apartment while being close to broke, I was harassed by an all-body con artist at my place of work at King Superstar Parking Lot 225 before the Regatta Plaza was built into the point. But when I finally had the courage to go to the police, including gathering as much evidence as possible, not only I was cut off and cast aside, they told me that the case itself would be difficult to process because I'm autistic without any explanation why. Do any of you know what ableism is? It's discrimination, prejudice, or social prejudice against people with disabilities, whether it's physical, mental, neurological, or otherwise, and the police don't see that as discriminating. Well, whether anyone wants to agree with it or not, the autism itself, the community itself, is a growing breed that deserves a lot better, and we're not going anywhere. Oh, sure, the police are trained for our community now, but where was any of that during my time of need? I know that I deserve better even when I was suffering to the point of my biggest mistake, lost what I've worked hard for, and paid my debt like a man, only to have it lost again. So instead of being so quick to ask me, why didn't I call the police? Ask me instead if I believe in the law. Well, I'm sorry, but after all I've been through, I don't believe in the law. Not anymore. Thank you for your time.
Yesenia Reyes, followed by Leila Villalpando.
Hello, I'm Yesenia Reyes. So the Wheatley group that I'm in right now, they did give you guys some handouts, 2 handouts, so if you guys could look them over while we're giving our statements. So hello, I'm Yesenia Reyes. I'm 18 years old. I'm with the Denver Healing Generations. I've been with them for a little over 4 years now. We are navigating change in the juvenile justice system. I'm going to start off today by saying I do not support the SAVE program. The SAVE program is created by the police department that is going to be stereotyping youth like us. Let me also add, my bad. Let me also add that we as a group did just do something similar like this for the GAIN program a few months back in 2025 for the for Denver. I'm disappointed that they are discriminating against people of color, especially youth. What is this? Are we trying to repeat history, create more generational trauma for the future generations? We can be profiled for the way we dress or talk and who is in our family or friends. Programs like these make me feel like they want us to get in trouble so they can prove that we need to be profiled and watched. And for what? So they can get taxpayer funds that barely do anything for us youth so it can benefit them. What, because we're just kids to them, they throw us behind bars without actually trying to get us the resources or help we need and deserve. But because we're just trouble to them, targeting our communities does not help us, and it makes us youth feel more hopeless for our future generations. Because of my childhood and being impacted by the juvenile justice system myself, I battle a lot on a daily basis with depression, anxiety, ADHD, anger, and other things. I'm a survivor, though, not a victim or a future suspect. The SAVE program is trying to dehumanize money scheme, stereotype, invade people's privacy, manipulate the juvenile justice system, and have false statistics and criminalize youth, and I'm not for any of it. It is nothing but a waste and distraction for us youth that actually want better in life and want to make a change to address generational trauma. I want to show my family and friends that I can create a change for our future generations. These reasons explain why I'm against the SAVE organization itself. What are we as a community going to do about this to protect the youth? Let's not forget they're minors, supposed to be kids enjoying life, not worried about what's going to happen to them if they make one mistake. We may be kids, but our voices should be as powerful too.
Leila Villalpando, followed by Journey Ornelas. Leila Villalpando, followed by Journey Ornelas.
Hello, my name is Leila Villalpando, and I'm a member of the Huitzilin Warriors. I'm here to speak on the program SAVE. This program has nothing to benefit the community of Aurora, and instead is harmfully targeting young people from the area just because of their affiliation to certain people, because of what SAVE calls social networking mapping. Oh my goodness. Why should a 13-year-old child be threatened with foul legal possibilities just because of who they hang out with or are related to? Just because my dad is a felon, should I be discriminated against and placed on a list for his actions? I could not change where or who I came from. I am not good at taking tests due to pressure, but that does not mean I am not smart. Profiling is dangerous and unconstitutional. As you can see, there are many people like me who get discriminated against for these things. Please shut down the SAVE program. Thank you.
Journey Ornelas, followed by Zaraya Gallegos.
My name is Journey Ornelas, and I'm here with the Huitzilin Warriors, a program that operates in the metro area. Aurora SAVE is not an ethical nor an actual positive program. The data given does not show any positive outcome for the community nor the people listed in SAVE. The surveillance of young people will not reduce or stop crime, and it does not encourage people to change for the better. This only increases more caution and more awareness for those who are choosing to disobey the law. And why does SAVE mostly target people of color? This is an oppressive system strictly created off of racism and classism. Having a community nonprofit deliver a law enforcement letter to someone's house strictly off of assumption is unethical and overall ridiculous. How is this supposed to prevent crime by targeting youth who may not have ever committed any violent charges? Even being a victim of violent crime can place you on the SAVE list. Punishing youth by using threats of incarceration does not benefit the city. Studies show that youth crime drops when you lock up fewer young people. SAVE is a waste of tax dollars and a waste of time.
Zaraya Gallegos, followed by Angel Martinez.
Hello, council members. I'm here today with the Huitzilin Warriors, a group of youth leaders who speak on the problems affecting us. The issue I'll be addressing today is the Aurora SAVE program. Similar to Denver's gang program, the Aurora Police Department is stereotyping youth based off of social media posts, relative convictions, school grades, and many other intruding tactics. Once identified, these youths are then put on a list and sent a letter, even without any prior charges. APD wants to make this community a safe environment, yet their officers have killed over 4 people in the last year. What work is law enforcement doing internally to change its practices, reduce harm, and be accountable for separate programs like SAVE? Safety cannot come from a department that causes the same harm and violence they're trying to prevent. With programs like SAFE still being operated, we'll continue to see this cycle of discrimination, stereotyping, and the evasion of privacy, especially for our young people. This program was not built with the community, nor does the community want it. And if the council members could please take the time to investigate this program, I would be grateful for that. Thank you for your time.
Angel Martinez, followed by Albertus Simmons. Angel Martinez, followed by Albertus Simmons.
My name is Angel Martinez, and I'm here to testify against the Aurora SAVE program. This program is supposed to stand against violence, but to me and others, it looks like profiling. How come the program is for ages 14 and 25, but they seem to target members of the community who turn 18? As someone who turned 18 this year, I feel like it's purposefully targeting the young members of the community. Why should a community trust a program that profiles their citizens by who they know, where they're from, and personal record? What happened to innocent till proven guilty? It seems like it's guilty until proven innocent. The way they target certain people, some have never even committed a crime, let alone a violent crime. I think this is wrong. I think this is the wrong approach to helping the community. Instead of helping the community, I think the SAVE program is pushing the community from its goal, which is to minimize violence and help people trust the police department. I believe the SAVE program should change its approach, or maybe a new program should be put in place that helps the youth instead. Thank you for your time.
Albertus Simmons, followed by Alessandra Chavira. Albertus Simmons, followed by Alessandra Chavira.
Yes. Wow. It's been about a year since I've been here. Last time I was here, I was fighting for Preston Nunn and getting justice for Preston. We won that jury, and we have not got paid a dime. The family has not gotten a dime from you all, Aurora, and your cop is still working. So I just want to make sure that you all understood that. But let me just say this. I am too also, like that young man, I'm against Aurora SAVE. I don't know how you all think that y'all can get some, Negro leaders to come ride in Aurora police cars, go into people's homes, and make it comfortable for the officer without having a warrant. That's basically what you're doing. You're almost making, it's like you're trying to get the kids to snitch. We got to understand something. Those young people are afraid of the Aurora police, and they should be, because, the Aurora police are legalized gangsters. So what I'm saying to you all, City Council, if you care about the community, if you care about black and brown kids, you, Stephanie, how you doing? You doing good? Okay. Anyway, I know it's not going to change the way you all, but at least give it a shot, give it a chance, take a look at it. Don't turn your back and turn away from black and brown kids. They need your help, City Council, and that Aurora SAVE program needs some transparency to it. Thank you.
Alessandra Chavira, followed by Taze Enriquez Banuelos. Alessandra Chaviras.
Hello, council members. My name is Alessandra Chavira. I'm an Aurora resident of Ward 1. I work with youth impacted by the juvenile justice system, and I've spent years studying the impacts of the school-to-prison pipeline. I'm also, and most importantly, raising a 3-year-old son in this city. The work I do is deeply personal, but also a contribution to a duty that every adult should partake in, which is creating conditions for youth to not just survive, but strive within their own community. I stand here to ask our council to build an alternative to Aurora Save in collaboration with community experts. The Aurora Save program is led by the Aurora Police Department and operates through building surveillance of youth, scoring them on their risk to the community, factoring hospital records, previous interactions with police, or something as simple as being a relative to someone that's been in the system. The Aurora Police Department has identified you as a resident of the Aurora community who may be at high risk of violence or imprisonment. These are the words youth are first met with when an officer and organization show up to their homes to deliver a letter that you have in front of you. Deliver a letter informing them that they're amongst the list of youth being watched, not just by Aurora PD, but by the FBI, DEA, ATF, Colorado Department of Probation, and district attorneys. While this program aims to bridge resources to youth identified, it inherently puts targets on them and labels them. Youth are set ultimatums. Give consent to work with these departments and receive resources or risk prosecution. This is not only unethical, but unconstitutional. The presumption of innocence until proven guilty is a right for everyone, including youth. Programs like Aurora Save and efforts like the surveillance of community protesting against GEO heavily utilize Aurora's PD's resources for surveillance that has already proven to not keep our communities safe. For these reasons, we need to collaborate on alternatives to this Aurora Save program and other efforts in partnership with Aurora Police Department. We need solutions, ones that do not rely on surveillance and punishment. We must lead with holistic, community-led solutions, solutions that honor taxpayers' money, not criminalize their children. I invite you all to ask for data on the program's success metrics and compare it to the national decline of youth violence. And I also ask you to vote no on expanding the contract with the Aurora Police.
Taze Enriquez Bañuelos, followed by Cassandra Hill. Taze Enriquez Bañuelos, followed by Cassandra Hill.
Good evening, council members. My name is Thais Enriquez Bañuelos, and I am a service provider that works directly with system-impacted youth. I'm here today to speak about the harms of surveillance, especially as it continues to expand through programs like Aurora Save and the growing use of AI. Surveillance lists have a long and harmful history. What we're seeing now is not new. It is a continuation of failed strategies from the 90s that have consistently targeted the same communities, created cycles of harm that have lasted generations. When a young person is placed on a watch list, that label can follow them for years. It shapes how they're treated in schools, by law enforcement, and other institutions. And now, with the expansions of AI, the risks are even greater. These systems are biased, they increase surveillance and make it even harder for young people to escape entering the carceral system. We are not just talking about data, we are talking about young people's lives. I lost my spot. Working closely with police has not created the safety Aurora Save promotes. Sharing information about young people with Aurora Police Department raises serious concerns, especially given the department's history of violence in the community. Families in Aurora have lost loved ones in encounters with police. The fatal shootings by police officers have increased in 2025. Instead of partnering with law enforcement, we again should be asking, what work is law enforcement doing internally to reduce harm and be accountable? Safety cannot come from a department that causes the same violence and harm that they are trying to prevent. I also want to name how broad and harmful this approach is. Young people are being flagged for who they know, where they live, and who they are related to. This is not prevention, this is profiling. I know this personally. Growing up, my father's incarceration was often brought up when talking about my future. Before I even had the chance to define myself, a narrative was already being written about who I would become. That kind of labeling impacts how young people see themselves and how the world treats them. We cannot build systems that continue to define youth by their proximity to harm instead of their potential. If we are serious about building safer communities, then we must be creative in the ways we decide how and who we are protecting. Invest in our communities by allowing accessibility to mental health care, education, job opportunities, and healing-centered programming that is not tied to law enforcement. Communities do not become safer when they are watched more closely. They become safer when people have stability, resources, and connection to their own community. Finally, I want to be clear that the same tools of surveillance used in programs
Cassandra Hill, followed by Javier Castillo. Cassandra Hill, followed by Javier Castillo.
One second, sorry, technological difficulties. Good evening, Aurora City Council. My name is Cassandra Heil. I'm representing the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, otherwise known as DACAG. I keep coming to these city council meetings, and sometimes I hear that crime is down. What about cop crime? There are so many cops that abuse their power in Aurora, and Police Chief Todd Chamberlain not only lets this corruption happen, he covers it up. Kevin Rodier, quote unquote, forgot to release Vicodin pills as evidence. And when he finally did, there was only one left in the bottle. To me, this looks a lot like he stole Vicodin off a crime scene, which is a felony. Still employed by the city of Aurora and paid for by tax dollars, Kevin Rodier went on to murder U.S. veteran and father, Corey Dillard. Todd Chamberlain lied on TV about Corey to cover for this murder, trying to defame Corey and excuse the murder by claiming he was a quote unquote terrorist. This is a clear violation of Corey's due process. Sergeant Matthew Schlager has so many excessive use of force records against him, a core request cost over $700 to get all of that information. Same with Officer M. Campbell. A core request for his excessive use of force records cost over $300. This shows how APD is hiding cop crime from the public. With all of these excessive use of force cases against M. Campbell and no consequences, he went on to hospitalize Tierka Mosley for over a year. She was filming APD brutalizing another black man. He stole over a year of Tierka's life and still has a job and power to do it again under Todd Chamberlain. Officer Brandon Mills, still in the force even after killing Rashad Johnson. In his case, the body cam footage was withheld even from the family. APD is actively violating Colorado law requirements that require they release the footage. Who are we supposed to call when it's the cops breaking the law? We need community control over the police. Officer Matthew Neely escalated a situation, punched an unarmed Rajon Belt Stubblefield in the back of the head while Rajon was facing the other way, and then shot him dead in front of his son in the community. Todd Chamberlain defended this escalatory behavior as well and gave Neely a paid vacation. Even before Todd worked for Aurora, he was letting cops under him get away with crimes. When he worked for LAPD, he let his officers harass a homeless woman, arresting her 87 times. They called it Operation Bad Booty. They had a name, as if it was a joke, for terrorizing this woman. He later got transferred from LAPD because he let his cops racially and sexually harass people. Why did Aurora let someone who allows such horrible behavior become chief of police? Todd Chamberlain does not care if there's justice. He does not care about the people of Aurora and our rights. He does not care if crime is down. In fact, he enables crime so long as it's his officers doing it. So we demand that Todd Chamberlain is fired. Time's up, Todd. We demand the community gets a say in who is hired next, and we demand community control over the police to ensure corruption like this is not tolerated again.
Javier Castillo, followed by Joel Benjamin. Javier Castillo, followed by Joel Benjamin.
Good evening. My name is Javier Antonio Cabral Castillo, and I represent the Weaseling Warriors. I'm here to speak about the impact of programs like SAVE and why we need a more fair and effective approach to public safety. First, we need to look at who is most impacted. These policies often target people already facing serious challenges, those experiencing poverty, homelessness, mental health struggles, or substance use. Instead of offering support, they are placed under increased surveillance, which can make their situation worse. There are also serious immigration consequences. Even low-level charges can trigger contact with immigration enforcement, potentially leading to deportation or delaying citizenship. For many individuals and families, this creates a long-term harm of minor incidents. Okay. We also have to consider fairness and constitutionality. Courts have ruled that cities cannot punish people more harshly than the state laws allowed for the same offense. Yet policies like this continue to raise concerns about due process, transparency, and accountability. And most importantly, these approaches have not proven to make communities safer. Increased law enforcement involvement can undermine trust and lead to more harm, especially for young people. Real safety comes from investing in communities-based solutions like mental health services, education, and job opportunities, and support systems that help people thrive. If you truly want safer communities, we need to focus on prevention that builds stability, not surveillance that creates harm. Thank you for your time.
Joel Benjamin, followed by Aonte Anderson. Joel Benjamin, followed by Aonte Anderson.
Good evening, Council. The last time I was here, I compared the GEO facility in Aurora to my grandfather's conditions in the Buchenwald camp in the 1940s. They are the same. As the young woman said earlier, this council is lacking constitution, perhaps in more ways than one. Before I begin, God bless the truth tellers who risk their lives so the masses can see the human condition as it should be in freedom and as it really is behind bars. God bless those who stand in the line of power and confront it with nothing to gain but our future. Fix the access elevator, fire Todd Chamberlain, and ICE out. Again, I brought my homework, 2 citations tonight, Wired magazine, and we'll start with this report from the Adams County Health Department, which you are all aware of if you're doing your jobs, dated March 24th of this year. They tried to follow up on reports of the conditions inside the GEO facility, reading in part under results. ACHD did not conduct management interviews with health services, security, or facilities due to delays caused by the facility's legal counsel on the day of the on-site investigation. Despite repeated attempts to coordinate follow-up interviews with these representatives through consultation with the GEO Group legal counsel, ACHD was not given access to these representatives to complete the standard investigation interviews. That's the follow-up to knowledge that we have an outbreak inside this prison. Second, we have a citation, from Wired magazine, if I still have it. Reading directly, on April 28th, a nurse at the Aurora ICE Processing Center near Denver called 911. A woman in custody, 4 months pregnant, had arrived at the facility's medical unit bleeding and in pain. As the staff rushed to get vitals, the dispatcher rattled off questions. How old was she? Was the pregnancy high risk? The nurse hesitated. She just got here 3 days ago. On 911 audio obtained by Wired through public records, the dispatcher's voice cuts in. Is there any sign of life? Have we heard a heartbeat? Does she feel any kicking? We don't have the equipment to do that, the nurse replies. There's a longer discussion about this facility later on tonight. Curtis Gardner, you've changed. But we need to have a shared understanding of the basic conditions inside this facility. You're all obligated to know what those are. You're obligated to maintain them. These are your constituents, even if you don't think they should really exist at all. Thanks.
Ayante Anderson, followed by Della Jordan.
For nearly 2 years, we have approached this dais, and I've offered you scripture, I've offered you words, but now those words are empty to a bunch of empty people. So now my comments are going to be directed towards this camera, to the citizens of Aurora. This is your emergency broadcast system. The individuals that you believe are your peace officers are an armed militia murdering unarmed people in your city. This is your emergency broadcast system. It is time for this city to stand the fuck up and fight back against the Aurora Police Department. People have been murdered in your streets. You have voted for change, and I'm grateful that now you have elected 6 members to fight for the actual change we need, but that is not enough. We need you, both Republican, Democrat, and Independent, to have the same energy when something is trending on TikTok or on Twitter about what's happening in the city of Aurora. Rajon Belt Stubblefield was assaulted by a police officer and then murdered in the city of Aurora. Kylen Lewis held a phone over his head and was murdered by the city of Aurora. A young man named Elijah McClain, who played the violin for animals in the animal shelter, was murdered by the city of Aurora. This is your emergency broadcast system. I don't care about the other issues that always come up about we got to think about the police officer, or we got to think about what was happening in that moment. You cannot convince me that Kylen Lewis should be murdered today for holding a cell phone above his head. Now, this call out is for the folks in this community. We get galvanized and get to this podium about issues when it impacts home, when we feel our soul being shattered. I need you to understand every life taken by APD should impact home. It shouldn't take folks, going out to unelected politicians and crashing book tours about issues in the Middle East. Come home with that same energy and crash the Aurora City Council meeting if that is what we need to do. Because I am tired of having to come to you all and to fill you up with empty words when your souls aren't even disturbed by black men, black women, and black people being murdered by your police department.
Della Jordan, followed by Matthew Seligson. Della Jordan, followed by Matthew Seligson.
Della Jordan, remember my name. I returned to the Navigation Center on April 10th. The harassment continues. The 3 people who assaulted me were complicit, were not suspended, and continue to perform their duties. I've tried to meet with the higher-ups. I asked, why me? When I asked why not, Matt says, "You punched an unknown female in the face." I asked him, "What the hell are you talking about? That is not true." And then he says that there is a video of this. There were many witnesses, and there's a video of it. And I said, then show me the video. I haven't seen it yet. Matt says, we have it on camera. There were so many videos. And so I asked him, so Matt, when guests say you pimp out females, fondle and grope them, and go into the dorms with undressed women, is that true because people say you did it? I informed Matt that what he said is slander, and I'd like to see the video. Have not yet. Why am I not to get full names, job titles, and/or duties of my accusers, assaulters, staff, and security? They have my name. Put all of this in writing, please. April 13 at 11:30 p.m. Ian, a staff member, told security to put me out, remove me, take me away, because I sat in a chair in a female dorm and they moved my purse, unzipped the top, and stole two $50 bills from it. According to Ian and Carla, I am the wrong color and/or race allowed to sit in a chair. This is the sign that I used to panhandle because Ashley, staff member Alex, security, put me out wearing nothing but a nightgown. Aurora Police Record 2026-42556, dated February 24th. Page 4, paragraph 4 and 5. Rubino states, my arm was not swollen. I guess like Superman, he can see through 28 silver bracelets. UC Health X-ray technician could not do imaging because my hand was swollen so bad. It took 30 minutes to get the bracelets off. No victim services offered then or now. They said I grabbed a sugar bottle, then another person.
Let her speak.
Read 2026-42556, APD, record, and see how stupid and idiot and lying these police officers are.
Matthew Seligson, followed by Median Schaffner. Matthew Seligson, followed by Median Schaffner. Median Schaffner, followed by Victoria Kagande.
So I'm pretty sure if you all are paying attention tonight, something harmonic is happening in this room. Less than an hour before this public comment started, I witnessed a study session where you all were presented with a resolution that would offer language of empathy for individuals who have been shot by the police. That resolution, somehow, some way, has now been hijacked as if it is somehow, some way anti-police. Empathy being shown to the citizens of a community is not anti-anything. That is pro-community. And the interesting part that I found is as I witnessed that conversation, I didn't see any revelation that maybe we actually have a policing system that would appreciate empathy towards the people who are harmed in their quote-unquote care. The only thing I heard was that there needed to be balance, or they needed to have some type of perception from both sides. Both sides? This is humanity. So if this resolution is about empathy, what's on the other side? So I find it very troubling that we have a leadership body that would try to counter empathy because somehow, some way, we don't have a balanced perspective of the police. I'm gonna give you a reality check. Every time Todd Chamberlain goes to a camera and talks about somebody being killed by the police get empathy. So this resolution now is balance for the people that he criminalizes, dehumanizes, and pretends as if we are somehow better off without them. So this resolution brings balance. We were also accused of hyperbole. But interestingly enough, in this room tonight, you've heard from youth tell you that they're being profiled. You've heard from people who are differently abled telling you that they are not being supported. You have heard from a veteran say that she is not getting the care she should be receiving by the Aurora police. So I challenge you to let you know this is not hyperbole. This is an echo of voices that you continue to want to ignore because it doesn't support your narrative. So I am going to counter, and I am going to challenge those that think that this is hyperbole. Stop letting ChatGPT talk you through how to govern, and govern through a lens of empathy. Otherwise, you need to vacate your seat and get off the dais.
Victoria Kagande, followed by T. Tag. Victoria Kagande, followed by T. Tag.
Do you guys like hurting kids? How about dead kids? You like dead kids? Because if you do, I'm sure you'd love to support the SAVE Act. Ridiculous. What do you think happens to children when you surveil them? What do you think happens to children when you allow police to create a risk score on them? Do you think this protects them? Do you think this protects anyone? What do you think happens when you deploy SAVE? What do you think happens when you employ people like Todd Chamberlain to run a racist, abusive, xenophobic group known as the police? Because right now, a great deal of our youth are in here trying to protect themselves against a system that never should have existed in the first place. Right now, there are family and community members trying to get justice for people that were murdered. How long ago now? Ending oppressive systems is what keeps people safe, not surveilling Black and brown children who are already targeted by ICE and the federal government. Putting safety back in the hands of the community is what keeps people safe, not beating, shooting, and killing innocent Black people in the streets and blocking your freaking constituents from getting a shred of justice. This is ridiculous. Demand Todd Chamberlain fucking resign. And SAVE. Shut down GEO. What is hard about this? What is so hard about human empathy? Oh my God. 17 people have been murdered under ICE custody, and we are 17 weeks into the year. By this rate, that's a lot of blood on your hands when you support this. Geraldo Lunas Campos, age 55. Luis Gustavo Nuna Caras, age 42. Luis Beltran Yanez Cruz, age 68. Priority Law, age 46. Herbert Sanchez Dominguez, age 34. Victor Manuel Diaz, age 36. Lord Sim, age 59. Jairo Garcia Hernandez, age 27. Alberto Gutierrez Reyes, age 48. Pageman Carcenes Nafranbadi, age 59. Emmanuel Clifford Damas, age 56. Mohamed Nazir Patikalawa, age 41. Warrior Perez Jimenez, age 19. Jose Guadalupe Ramos Solano, no age listed. Tuan Van Boy, age 55. Alejandro Cabrera Clemente, age 49. And Alan Damian Cabral Betancourt, age 27. Shut down GEO and SAVE and end the stupid fucking Aurora Police Department. Holy shit.
T-Tag, followed by Laura Gonzalez. T-Tag, followed by Laura Gonzalez.
I'm not mad at you. Salam, gendars. English, that means hello, horse. Cops are not to judge and jury whether you propose people are innocent or guilty. Todd is making these decisions every day, reinstating high-speed chases, making his presence at Trump rallies, knowing his personal past with racism, our department's past with racism, not considering these things with our impact on community with mental health, tax and costs in our community, children's public health, our public health in general, our settlement for costs, our taxes in general for our public, and most of all, the killing of citizens, again, whether you consider them guilty or not. Taco Todd, back and forth with his little Venezuelan gangs, Shitler Daddy on one day we have good crime numbers, one day we don't. We have high-speed chases, so we don't need drones, but yet we use them. What the fuck is going on, guys? We are at a point now where we just need to get rid of this Nazi Chamberlain, as there have been 5 other previous chiefs, and the citizens have died under backup Jewel as well. We don't need to give them a golden parachute. We need community input. We need a community committee. We need a replacement plan in place before he goes, because we all know why we picked him. And we also need to make sure that this is not done again, because we all know he was picked because it's a lack of leadership, and I'm looking at you. And don't think that we are not coming for you as well, Mr. Bachelor, with your $300,000+ a year job. Kaufman, we know that you don't care, your actions show, and your time is up, and you're all comfy and institutionalized. And you made it clear with your actions, so much so that I even looked you up in the Epstein files, because that's what I think of you. People here like Jackson, Jurinsky, and Miss Disappear here, that's how much she doesn't care, and other people call it radical because I just simply want human decency, people to have food, health care, simple things like that. When the fuck did that become radicalized? When in the fuck did human decency become radicalized? When did human compassion become radicalized? Is this real? Is real? Is this real? What the fuck is going on with you people? Toxic people, systems condition you to believe that the problem isn't the abuse itself, but instead your reaction to the abuse. Do you understand that? Your reaction to the abuse, not the abuse itself. And by the way, today is 27 years of Columbine. Not one of you.
Laura Gonzalez. Laura Gonzalez. Marcella Scheifelin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Marcella Schefflin. I'm a disability, human, and civil rights advocate and policy specialist. I'm not an Aurora resident. I'm here because Aurora is home to a facility actively failing some of the most vulnerable people in its custody, and that failure has no consequence attached to it. People with disabilities are disproportionately represented in immigration detention. For someone managing a chronic condition, a psychiatric disability, diabetes, or a seizure disorder, GEO's documented failures in medical care are not inconveniences. They are life-threatening. The Americans with Disabilities Act applies inside immigration detention facilities. Federal courts have confirmed that repeatedly. GEO's pattern of inadequate medical care is not just a human rights concern, it's an ongoing ADA compliance failure. A community accountability report published this spring documented 161 separate medical complaints from people inside the facility between September of 2025 and February 2026. Nearly 1 in 4 people involved experienced conditions that developed after detention, not before. Pre-existing mental health conditions received no treatment in any submission reviewed. 1 senior citizen had to attempt suicide before he was placed in the infirmary, and the physician named in the 2022 wrongful death lawsuit is still practicing inside that facility today. Adams County Public Health has raised concerns, Congressman Jason Crow has raised concerns, and oversight organizations have documented a pattern of sexual assault with no contract penalties for violations. There is currently no municipal, state, or contractual mechanism requiring GEO to answer to Aurora, to Adams County, or to the people in its custody for any of this. This is what this council has the opportunity to address tonight. Thank you.
Mayor and council, we've reached the 1-hour limit. There are 6 speakers left. How would you like to proceed?
Mayor,
Pro Tem.
move to allow the 6 remaining speakers to speak.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Second.
By Councilmember Horton.
And just remember, everybody, this is a 2/3 majority to suspend the rules.
Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question.
Mayor?
Sorry.
Mayor?
Mayor votes
Your
no.
vote. Councilmember Bergen. Okay. Okay, the motion passes with 8 yes votes and 2 no votes from Mayor Kaufman and Councilmember Hancock. Okay, the next speaker is Robert Lewis, followed by Kiowa Lewis.
By now, you already know who I am. It's just a shame because every time I hear y'all pray, it's like, what do you pray to, the devil? I mean, because really, you don't pray to the Heavenly Father. You have no truth in you. You know, but it's a shame that y'all don't see that. But the day that it comes, it'll be too late for you. You know, I keep saying that I pray and pray and pray because there's a lot of things that run through my mind to do to y'all's ass, but I can't do it. But it's a shame that you don't see this evil that you back and keep portraying, well, not portraying, but doing. You know, you have police that run around here doing all kind of evil, even to these kids. You know, this is a shame. Your Aurora community should be ashamed of itself. You know, to even put up with the cowardly shit y'all do. And for somebody in this audience, too, that wants to sit up and say about cussing, you need to watch your mouth. Because you didn't say it to anybody else, but as soon as we get up here, it's always watch something. I got something you can watch. But anyway, back to my son. I miss my son, and I'm going to let y'all know that very much. But one day y'all will pay for this in hell, or if you repent, maybe you'll get back in heaven. But I truly doubt that. There's no praying for evil people that sit up here and try to act like you ride under the pretense of God when your pretense is nothing but Satan. You know, and it's just it's heartbreaking that we got to come up here and tell y'all this when you should know this in your heart. You should feel it in your soul. But evidently you don't have no soul because it's already paid for by the wrong person. But y'all keep doing what you do, because it's coming for you.
Kiowa Lewis, followed by Robert Chase. Kiowa Lewis, followed by Robert Chase.
I'm going to switch gears really quick. Knowing my ancestors and the things they had to do, it sickens me to see that my own kind will not even follow along and join suit with bringing up what is right. You got people that come in outside of what we know and try to help, get us to where we need to be. Dang, Stephanie, I'm so disappointed in you, yo. I'm so disappointed in you. But I want to take a minute to say, this officer who got stabbed in the head, I look at that all the things, tactics that he's been trained to do was never performed, right? It should have never got to that point, to the point where they had to murder this gentleman, right? In addition to that, the reason I say that is I'm not saying I'm against police. What I'm saying is I'm against corrupt officers, and the thing is, your system you have set up is sickening. My brother gets out with his hands drawn and raised in the air. There's no weapon, nothing, right?
Could he grab a weapon in the air?
And the thing is, 8 seconds later, he gets killed. But yet, y'all make it seem like this officer that got stabbed in the head, that this is more important than all the tens and thousands and hundreds of people that y'all killed. The thing is, no life is worth more than another person's life when it's all said and done. But what I will say is, y'all see these people back here that's dealing with everything, with these youth people, they should not have to go through this BS, right? This is a shame that they coming out here and trying to talk to y'all. But the thing is, y'all don't see it. You live in your white privilege, or you live in your privilege to where y'all don't see the real identity because you've been sheltered so long, right? These people are trying so hard to live a life. But one thing I will tell you, we will rise, and when the people do rise, the people who value righteousness and value things that is truth and protecting of lives and things like that, when they come together with the people that's being hurt and everything as well, when we come together, it's not going to be pretty, because the ones that purposefully go out and commit these hideous crimes against innocent people, killing them for no reason, going and saying they need these fake things in place for no reason, and using taxpayers' dollars. Y'all don't understand what y'all are doing, but we see it. People are going to get so wise to the point where the tactics that y'all have set up is no longer valid, because we're going to find a way around that. We have found a way around it since we came to this freaking country.
Robert Chase, followed by Tristan Hoost. Robert Chase, followed by Tristan Hoost.
I thought it was on the agenda item.
Yeah, Robert. Oh, okay.
I'd like to speak on both.
Okay, but it's not agenda item, right?
Right, I think you want.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'd like to encourage the council to do all it can to shut down the GEO facility. It has no business in our community. Immigrants contribute to our society, whether they came here authorized or not. The right-wing Cato Institute has documented their effect on government budgets. They cost us less. They have, from 93 to 2023, they contributed something like $14.5 trillion in fiscal surplus. They cost government programs less. They are less of a burden on the criminal justice system. It is completely wrong that GEO be in our city. And this should inform how you vote on the upcoming agenda item, but I won't address that directly. I'll return to address the agenda item specifically, but there is a crisis in this city of public confidence, and it is not being addressed appropriately. I urge the council to move rapidly to hire appropriate oversight over our police department and to to address these dire problems of a lack of public trust before things get any worse. Thank you.
Tristan Hoost, followed by Lucas James. Tristan Hoost, followed by Lucas James.
You all heard Aurora's youth speak earlier. Listen to them, or we will. Good evening, Aurora City Council. My name is Tristan, and I am with the Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, the ACAC. I'm here tonight because yet another black man is dead at the hands of Aurora Police Department. 23-year-old Amar Garlington was killed, not because he was a threat, not because he was violent, but because APD was called to a mental health crisis and responded with a canine officer. Let me say that again. A mental health crisis, and they sent a dog. That is not de-escalation, that is not safety, that is a death sentence written by a department that has learned nothing. And Todd Chamberlain will do what he always does. He will spin it. He will say nothing could have been done differently. He will protect his officers, smear the victim, and wait for the headlines to fade. Corey Dillard, Kylin Lewis, Rashad Johnson, Rajon Belt Stubblefield, Avi Ball Mason, and now Amar Garlington. Same song, same dance, same blood on the same hands. Todd Chamberlain came to Aurora from LAPD, a department notorious for racism and violence. He was a commanding officer during the Rodney King beatings. He lost a discrimination lawsuit for allowing officers to racially harass a black officer, costing a city $1.2 million. He was transferred out of his position for extensive racial and sexual harassment in his own department. And you hired him to lead a police force under a federal consent decree for racism. That decision has cost lives, real lives, people who will never come home. Amar Garlington needed help. He did not need a dog tearing into him. He did not need a department that treats mental health crises as criminal encounters. He did not need a police chief who has never once stood before this council and said, "We made a mistake. We need to change." Instead, Chamberlain lies. He covers up. He calls dead teenagers terrorists and murdered men mass shooters. He mourns disgraced cops caught by the FBI, but defames the people his own officers kill. The community does not trust APD, and why would we? Every week brings a new name. Every month brings a new excuse. Every council meeting brings the same pleas from the same grieving families. You have the power to stop this. One action: instruct the city manager to fire Todd Chamberlain. Not another study, not more training, not more committees. Fire him. And then give us real community control of the police. A civilian police accountability council. Power in the hands of the people, not the people who keep killing us. Amar Garlington should be alive. So should Kylin. And so should Corey. So should Rashad. And so should Rajon. So should Avi. How many more names will you let pile up before you act?
Lucas James. Lucas James, followed by Laura McLaughlin. Lucas James, followed by Laura McLaughlin. Laura McLaughlin.
Before I start, I think they already left, but I wanted to give a big shout out to the youth. If anybody knows where they came from, that's a lot. And I hope that you guys opened your ears because that's your community. Those children are speaking up. And I really hope y'all took the time to hear their voices. There's a long list of names that I don't even have on here. But 14-year-old Jordale Richardson, Kylin Lewis, Jalen Sebron, Corey Dillard, and Rajon B. And I don't say his name right, so I just say B. It has not been 3 years since Jordale Richardson was murdered. He was on the ground. He had given up. He had 2 officers on him. And there's a list to go on with the rest of these stories. It has not been 3 years. We're speaking of community. These young children in the community are afraid of the police department. I am a mother and an aunt and a friend to these children that are coming up, and they're afraid because they don't know, even if they do what the officers tell them, they're dying. And they're seeing it in video. And then they keep getting told that it's justified. And as a parent, as a community leader, I can't explain to my child, to my son who was 14, who was Jordale's best friend, how this is justified. My daughter, who is young, was Kylan Lewis's friend. And so on and so on. These children are seeing this and they're suffering. They're suffering mentally, but this is the community that we're bringing up, and they're afraid of your police. And now you might not like the tactics that go on here, right? But what is happening with each person, each Black person, each minority person, anybody who doesn't look like me, let's just say that. If they don't look like me, the police are gunning them down, and the community's tired. And you're growing a community. You're growing a community that's tired. Something's got to change, y'all. Something's got to change.
That was the last speaker.
The time is now 7:22. We will take a recess until 7:35.
Fuck you. You are disgusting.
Think hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to get started back here, but I just want to let you know that she's okay, but Councilwoman Bergen had a little bit of a health emergency. We had to take care of that. She's going to be fine, but she's going to be heading home. So I wanted everybody to know that's why she left the dais, and that's where we were. We were dealing with that, but I just wanted you all to know that she's fine. She's going to be okay, but she's going to head home with her husband. So that's where we are. So, Mayor.
Motion is in order for the adoption of the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances.
Mayor.
Item number 11A1 to 11B7.
I need to pull 11B3 and 11B4.
Mayor.
Hold on, just 11B3. Councilmember Horton.
And I'd like to pull 11A1, please.
All this is doing is removing these for discussion separately. They're not being removed from the agenda, just so everybody know. Yep.
Thanks for that.
So, motion is in order for the adoption of the consent calendar, item number 11A2 through 11B2 and 11B5 through 11B7.
Yeah, there was.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Sorry.
From Wiles, second.
I'm sorry. It was moved by Councilmember Wiles, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem on the consent calendar as amended. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar as amended.
Sorry, Mayor, I'm having a technical difficulty. Give me just a second. Okay. Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner? Councilmember Medina? Okay, the motion passes with 9 yes votes.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11A1?
11A1 is Resolution 2026-30, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, expressing the Aurora City Council's approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Aurora Police Department and the Aurora Processing Center. And Mayor, there are several folks signed up to speak.
Oh, procedurally, do I go with?
Brief presentation by staff, and then we'll hear from.
Okay. Councilmember Horton, would you like to come in now or go to staff? Okay, brief presentation by staff.
I believe Chief Chamberlain was going to join online.
If Chief's here, if not, I can do a quick introduction. If that's okay, Councilmember Horton. Chief, are you there? All right, so this memorandum of understanding is a understanding between the Aurora Police Department and the GEO ICE facility here in Aurora about certain parameters about what will happen if there's an emergency or a criminal issue at the GEO facility. We currently have an MOU in place that is not as prescriptive as the one that was worked out between APD and GEO. And so what we are doing tonight is asking for council's approval or not of this actual MOU, as the police department said the last time, to put guardrails on the amount of resources that the Aurora Police Department will utilize if responding to certain types of incidents at the facility. For example, if there is an incident where, like happened one of the times where there was an escapee at the facility, then it calls for several hours later, how much resources is the commander, who is the watch commander at the time, going to dedicate to GEO and the federal government to try to find those individuals? Second of all, it gives a lot of discretion to APD, right? So if it is an individual that is, as we talked about at the last meeting, is if it is an individual that is just being held on civil detainer charges and they do escape somehow, the door's left open or whatever, you guys, through this memorandum, the commander can state, that's a civil issue, even though they escaped, yeah, that's criminal, but the basis, the underlying basis of it was a civil detention. And that also gives this council, if you guys pass this MOU, the ability to give further direction to the police department through the city manager. So if you all pass this and this goes into it, you could bring a resolution later going, for example, the scenario that I just described, right? That these are individuals just under a civil detainer. You don't want us spending a lot of resources. Based on how this MOU is written, you all can do that because it's specifically up to APD how much city/police resources would be used in that particular circumstance. So, Mandy, did I miss anything? That's my police legal advisor. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. But this was worked out between APD and GEO. And again, because it's an understanding of the parties, any changes that council makes would have to go back to the other side. And briefly, I will talk about some of the emails that I know a lot of you have received. This, because it's an understanding, we don't have any authority under the federal government, right? GEO facility is at what we call a quasi federal land. It's a sovereign piece of property under the federal government. We can't dictate anything to the feds that they don't otherwise agree to. So what I would suggest is if there are going to be amendments from the floor, my advice is that we don't negotiate live, right? We don't negotiate on the dais, that if there are going to be changes that council wants to see, we stick that under our privilege under the executive session because we're a negotiating party like anybody else. We don't want to have our negotiations be made in public because it hurts our position. And so if we do choose to do that, my advice is that you give direction to Jason and I on how you want to handle that. If you want to have a committee, if you want to have a few council members, however you want to do that, so we can go back, work with APD, look at everything, and then go back to GEO and say, hey, this is what our council would like to see. Will you agree to any of these items? So that's how I kind of foresee this going. So, Mandy, did I miss anything?
No, thanks. As Mr. Schulte outlined, this really has no, APD has no control what happens, what occurs within the GEO facility. This is purely the guidelines for responding to criminal incidents and critical incidents such as, bomb threats, riots, things like that. So, but Pete outlined that already.
Further questions of staff?
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
In the MOU, it talks about sharing information in the event of civil disturbance and protest. So what kind of information is being shared in that instance? And is there any protection for people's personal information and First Amendment rights?
Mandy.
Sure. So the sharing of information, I think, would be similar to the response to any criminal incident. So, if a reporting party called 911 and said, this, criminal incident is occurring at my home, they would share that information. The same thing as far as APD being able to respond, just giving the information as to, in order for them to respond to that incident in order to best protect the detainees inside and to protect officers and to protect those working at the GEO facilities. So it's really going to be just circumstantial, contextual information in order to respond to that incident. Numbers, locations, things like that.
And going beyond that too, it's like this does not override state law. So we are still, it's not going to allow APD to share information that's contained in the databases for use for immigration enforcement. There's nothing in this understanding will trump state or federal law.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
But information about members of the public who are participating in protests, their personal information can be gathered, used for intelligence, et cetera, with federal officers as part of this?
I don't believe so. That's not the scope. The scope is and again, Mandy, you were part of the negotiations on that, so you can comment on it, but that's not the purpose is really just about gathering information for criminal offense reports.
Correct. And the part about protests in here, Mayor Pro Tem, is really just as far as making sure that the public and everyone around the facility are safe, including protesters themselves. APD is not going out and gathering information about, from the protesters. It's simply just if there were a protest that's, implicated public safety, that they would be, as they would with any protest that implicated public safety considerations, just be there to make sure that the protesters themselves are safe and that other bystanders are safe.
Further questions to staff?
And Mandy.
We do have to get Chief Chamberlain.
Yeah, this is Chief Chamberlain to discuss it as well. Again, this MOU is no deviation at all from the prior MOU. Actually, what it does, it just gives us more authority to have stronger guardrails in place that don't get us pulled down into environments that we don't want to go down to. And what I mean and refer to by that, and I brought this up before, is they had a very specific time related to escapes. They codified it with cold escapes, hot escapes, and it was done with time periods and how we responded. The MOU, again, the new one, it basically eliminates that. It talks more about approach of an incident command system. If there is an individual who escapes, how we handle it, what we do. As far as information, First Amendment information related to anybody or anything, there is nothing in this MOU that changes, modifies anything that would have been done with the old MOU or what would have been done if there was a protest and it turned into a civil disobedience and individuals were arrested. That would not be done at any other event or gathering. Again, this MOU changes nothing. All it does is it gives us more authority and more power to have an established incident command system as opposed to what was in the old one.
Further questions of staff or the chief?
Mayor.
Sorry, Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. I have a question of, we just recently passed an emergency resolution regarding APD's cooperation with ICE. And I'm just curious how that resolution and this MOU work together, since we explicitly stated we wanted to limit cooperation.
Yeah, again, this isn't about a relationship or a partnership with ICE. This is about community safety. And I think that's what is getting lost a little bit on this whole discussion. Again, we are not supporting ICE. Municipal law enforcement agencies, as I mentioned many times, is not involved in immigration enforcement in any way whatsoever. All this does is that if there is an event, if somebody in that facility is victimized or mistreated and there is a crime committed, we will support and make sure that that crime is investigated. If there is an escape, and somebody who has victimized somebody in the past, somebody who has been involved in criminal activity is out, it gives us the parameters to work with the ICE facility as far as saying what we will or will not do and how that goes. And I also think it's important too, when you think about who is at this GEO facility. The GEO facilities does not hold just individuals involved with ERO or immigration issues. They also hold individuals that are undocumented or illegal who come out of the criminal process. So they might come out of a penitentiary for murder or another violent crime, rape, robbery, and then they are transferred from that penitentiary into the GEO facility while awaiting deportation. And so again, those are some of the individuals that we are trying to make sure don't get out in the community and victimize others. Actually, what you have right now, and again, these are approximate numbers, but being held in the GEO facility is approximately about 1,000 people. out of that 1,000 people, probably 2/3 or close to 700 are actually involved, are members that have criminal issues related to them, not violation of federal immigration or anything else like that, but have actually been arrested for victimizing other people. And so that's what we are concerned about. And that's why if someone escapes, there is without question a safety concern to the community that victimization will occur again. So as far as us partnering or dealing with ICE or with the GEO, again, that's going to be in any facility. It doesn't matter if they escape from a federal penitentiary. It doesn't matter if they escape from Arapahoe. We would be aware of it. We would know about it. If we felt that it was going to impact Aurora, we would support trying to apprehend that individual before other people are victimized. So I hope that brings a little clarity to it.
Mayor?
Councilmember Horton.
Chief, question. The data you just cited, around 2/3 of individuals who are in the Geo Detention Center have criminal charges of some sort, not related to the civil charge of being undocumented. Can you speak to where you're getting that data from? Because that seems to very much contradict some of the data out there when it comes to majority of those individuals who are in the jail detention center who don't have a criminal status.
Yeah, absolutely. I got that information from the ICE director. And again, like I said, it's in generalities, but we could probably, without question, pull more specific data that will give the exact number. But when I did speak to her this morning, that's the number she gave, because I asked her specifically, I said, how many people have active criminal events that are related to what we are involved with? And she gave out that number. She said, like I mentioned, there was approximately 1,000 people that were being detained. Out of those 1,000, there's approximately 600 to 700 that have criminal activity involved with their detainment.
Mm-hmm. And you said those are active. Sorry, Mayor.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Mayor, can I ask one follow-up question?
Yes.
Sorry. Chief, just to clarify, you said those are active criminal cases that GEO's
That's
reporting
correct.
on? Okay.
It's the fact that they're holding or waiting for deportation based on a criminal action. So like I said, it could be somebody that came out of the penitentiary system who got tried and convicted for a crime, say rape, robbery, murder. They serve their time. They don't get released back out to the street. If they are undocumented, they go into the GEO facility and they await deportation. Or it could be somebody who got arrested on a crime. They got picked up by ICE members, and then they were being held right now, either waiting criminal prosecution, which may not occur if the case doesn't get filed, which happens quite often. And then at that point, they will be on standby for deportation.
Mayor.
Councilmember Jackson. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, you asked. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So by picked up for some crime, that could mean, for example, they were arrested by Aurora police for something like shoplifting, trespassing, things of that nature.
It could be any crime, yes. It could be a misdemeanor or a felony, absolutely. And it could be not only, and again, I think it's really important to remember also, and again, this is information that I'm gathering as we go through this, but the Aurora GEO facility is not just for Aurora. Again, it's the entire portions or aspects of Colorado. So there could be somebody from another location who gets moved to this facility and who is involved in criminal activity. Or again, there are those who are involved in strictly deportation activity.
Further questions of staff or the chief? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Motion, do we have folks who needed to comment on it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's the process?
Yeah, we do. And so as we think about the motion, after we listen to the speakers, we try to do one in the affirmative if we can. I know sometimes that can be challenging when we're going to make a motion to deny something, if that's what that was. I'm not saying. So we'll think about it as we hear from the speakers, but I'll communicate with you.
Speakers.
First speaker is Hope Yoan, followed by Angela Stover.
Hello, I am Hope Yan. I'm an Aurora resident in Ward 4. And first, I just want to say, why do we vote in every election and elect all of you if we still have to call and email and show up every Monday to tell you to do every little right thing? You're paid, we're not. But here we are, and I'm here to formally ask you to vote no on the resolution 11A1. Do not condone the MOU between Aurora ICE Processing Center and Aurora PD. Any additional support from taxpayers to ICE and GEO legitimizes this heinous concentration camp, a blight on our community, and a horrendous human rights violation that you all continue to condone. There have been numerous reports of abuse from inside the Aurora facility. Like all for-profit prisons, the abuses at Aurora GEO facility are a direct result from GEO's spending as little as possible on the people in their custody in order to improve their profits. Why are we spending more tax money to improve their profits? Where are the fines? Where are the inquiries, the investigations, the arrests of the monsters at GEO responsible for numerous standards violations? This expanded MOU tethers our municipal police even further to GEO for the next 10 years, legitimizing the horrors going on at this concentration camp and using Aurora tax dollars to support it. This MOU lacks transparency and measurable outcomes. It does not require the Aurora Police to track or report how often they support GEO, nor the types of incidents it provides support on. This MOU puts the burden on the council and, let's be honest, the public to request reports, hunt down accurate and meaningful details. It protects the for-profit interests of GEO with taxpayer dollars, and it further shrouds the cooperation with Aurora PD and ICE and GEO. Its lack of transparency further insulates GEO from public oversight or public intervention. And this MOU does not address what happens when a GEO employee is accused of a crime, such as assaulting a detainee, or the institution as a whole, such as failing to provide adequate care for those in their custody. It's particularly horrifying given how many organizations and individuals have documented patterns of sexual assaults, among other rights violations at this facility. Not to mention, we already know that you don't hold officers accountable. We know Aurora PD is homicidal. Kylan Lewis should be alive right now. Amar Garlington should be alive right now. Rajon Belt-Stubblefield should be alive right now. Do not approve additional collaboration between these two corrupt, murderous institutions. You cannot trust APD with community safety, as Todd Chamberlain just put it, but the city should not be using tax dollars to support a for-profit institution that we don't even want in our community and we will be fighting to not renew. Do not protect corporate interests, especially of evil corporations like GEO.
Angela Stover, followed by Jennifer Piper. Angela Stover, followed by Jennifer Piper.
Thank you, council members, for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Angela Stover. I'm a resident of Aurora in District 3. I want to share with you why I believe you should not approve this MOU between the ICE Detention Center and the APD. I personally know someone who is currently detained in the ICE facility. He has been there for over 2 years. He has a pending asylum case. They give him a trial date, they cancel it. They give him another trial date, they cancel it. This has happened 3 times. His trial date is coming up this week. Who knows if we'll have it or not? Probably not, because they just keep canceling it. And why wouldn't they when they make $165 a day off of every person that's detained there? When he has glasses that are 2 years past their expiration date, he can't see. They're held together by tape and string. GEO was supposed to let him go to an optometrist in January. He still has not gone. He doesn't go to see the doctor there because when you go to see the doctor, you sit there for hours and then nothing happens. They don't help you. These are the conditions that people, over 1,000 people, are living in daily in this facility, and you want to pair the police, who already have no trust from this community, and give them power together. I don't see how that's going to help anyone. That's not going to help the community. It's not going to help the police. It's just going to give more power to the GEO facility to abuse more humans. What I would ask you as this council is not to let this MOU happen, to close the GEO facility and let these people free. Thank you.
Jennifer Piper, followed by Joel Benjamin. Jennifer Piper, followed by Joel Benjamin. Joel Benjamin.
I don't know if Jennifer's here. Can we have Chamberlain and we have the attorney here still?
Please proceed.
Guess the liars lie and then leave, huh? All right. A few clarifications to the chief of police, who's not here in person because obviously, to the attorney. Two things. One, you work for us. And two, we don't care what the purpose is of what this document says. We care what the text is of this document. This agreement, Councilor Coombs correctly identified as quashing the possibility of free speech outside this facility. This facility is illegal, deplorable, a scourge on our town. The second, to the city attorney, I don't know that guardrails is a fair characterization of what this does. This is explicit enabling of police involvement with a federal facility that is for profit, that should be responsible for at least keeping the people in the cages from escaping. There shouldn't be cages. The least we could ask of them is to use their profits to feed and give people care. Folks, this city is broke. You're very likely to make a lot of cuts due to low revenue. We don't need more of our taxpayer dollars and effort going to support a federal executive that is happy to waste our money. I would encourage the city not to collaborate with ICE under any condition unless compelled to do so by law and upon being forced by a judge. I just need to come back to the conditions inside this facility. There are crimes being committed inside this facility. It's more likely by the people who work in the facility at whatever level than it is the individuals therein. The chief of police, again, I bring homework, man. This keeps me busy. The chief of police either can't or won't read. But the number of detainees, he's off by at least 50%. The conditions are deplorable. Where do I want to go from here? Finally, and this has not come up to this point, what we really want is actual protections for the folks there. I guess you can understand that the federal government has authority to do what they're doing. We don't have to like it. We don't like it. It is immoral. It's against humanity, but they, I guess, can do it. But they should at least have access to adequate health and, in some cases, as necessary, sane exams upon report.
Meg Reed, followed by Carol Corrales. Meg Reed, followed by Carol Corrales. Carol Corrales, followed by Ayante Anderson. Ayante Anderson, followed by Laura Gonzalez.
Council members, the question before you tonight is whether the City of Aurora will formally continue to align itself with a federal system and administration that has repeatedly shown a disregard for due process, human dignity, and basic constitutional protections, and whether we are going to deepen that alignment through the Aurora Police Department, which is already the deadliest police force in the entire state of Colorado. Now we are being asked to believe that this is simple. If someone escapes, APD must respond. It's about public safety. But let's be honest about what that means. It means APD, an agency already under intense scrutiny and a consent decree for its use of force, will now be working in coordination with ICE, an agency that is being denied federal funding due to its policies that have expanded detentions, escalated enforcement, eroded civil protections, and murdered unarmed American citizens. So I ask you this question. What happens when two systems, both facing serious questions about how they treat human life, are brought together? We are not being asked to choose between safety and chaos. We are being asked to choose between accountability and complicity. Do we get more safety, or do we get more harm that's just better coordinated? Because when someone escapes, we are told that they are a threat. But we refuse to ask, what conditions are they escaping from? A system where people have been detained without clear due process. A system where conditions and oversight have been repeatedly questioned. A system that has expanded its reach in ways that should concern anyone who cares about the United States Constitution. And now we are being asked to utilize local law enforcement to send people back into a system without question. That is not neutrality, that is complicity. And this is how it starts. Not with sweeping declarations, but with agreements like this, with just-in-case scenarios, with only an emergency, only until that line is gone. Aurora should not be in the business of reinforcing federal overreach, because we cannot call it public safety if people are afraid of the very systems that is meant to protect them. And we cannot call it public safety if we are sending people back into a system where their safety is not guaranteed. We cannot be complicit. Thank you.
Laura Gonzalez, followed by June Elise. Laura Gonzalez, followed by June Elise. June Elise, followed by Median Schaffner. Median Schaffner, followed by Marcella Scheifelin.
So I'm going to start off by formally just saying blatantly that Aurora Police does not have a moral foot to stand on to ask you for anything else. They have shown you time and time again that when it comes to communities of culture, there is not a priority to de-escalate, to empathize, to understand, and there's no accountability. Our surface level research has told us that the current MOU expires in 7 months. So it is not lost on us that in 7 months something expires and all of a sudden they want an MOU with deeper understanding of how we can engage. That to me sounds like I need a new date on a piece of paper to ensure that this agreement stays in place. And also, let's run it back of what you just heard from Josh Chamberlain, calling him Josh intentionally. If you know, you know. Josh Chamberlain literally just told you through presentation that the information he received didn't come from diligence of his own research, didn't come from comparative information that was a discrepancy to what he's telling you. He just said, I'm going to run and tell that. The ICE director told me. What level of respect does he have for you all for that to be the presentation he is giving you to say, let's put our signature on something? He also spoke about individuals that have served their time in prison and him not wanting them to have access to the community. Well, clutch my pearls, Josh. Do you think that we don't have a restorative policing system in our country? So where when people serve their time, they are due back into the community? So which is it? And the last thing that I'll say is that he wants you to believe that if there's a crime that happens inside of that facility, there must be a very intentional understanding of how they engage. There are warrants, there are subpoenas, there are coordinated efforts that exist in order for them to go into this quasi space. So if you are going to be naive enough to believe that he needs this MOU because someone is under attack behind that building, then I would challenge you to understand that you are being very naive. That is not leadership, and it is not lost on us. We are watching intentionally.
Marcella Scheiflin, followed by Meg Reed. Marcella Scheiflin, followed by Meg Reed.
Hello again, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Marcella Scheiflin. I am still a disability, human, and civil rights advocate and policy specialist. I'm not an Aurora resident, and I'm here because what this council decides tonight does not stop at Aurora city limits. I spoke during the general comment about what is happening inside GEO. Now I want to speak about what this agreement asks of Aurora. This agreement fails every standard of normal municipal governance. 10 years with no structured review, no cost tracking, no conflict of interest provisions for when a GEO employee is accused of a crime, no citizen oversight. These are not extras. They are baseline requirements that every competent municipal contract includes. Every one of them is missing here. GEO reported $2.5 billion profit in 2025, which is a 700% increase since 2024. Aurora has no obligation under this agreement to recover a single dollar from them. Most cities would, at a minimum, require costs to be tracked before deciding not to recover them. This MOU does not even do that. Not recovering costs is a choice. Not tracking them is negligence. This MOU was born out of an institutional embarrassment, not community need. The police chief said so himself. Aurora is being asked to sign a 10-year agreement during the most aggressive federal immigration enforcement period in a generation with a corporation whose revenue depends on keeping people detained in response to ICE blaming this department for an escape. This is not governance. That is municipality being leveraged into a political position it did not choose and cannot easily exit. Colorado's 25276, signed in 2025, the Senate bill, prohibits municipal employees from assisting federal immigration enforcement and imposes civil penalties up to $50,000 per violation. This MOU establishes a 10-year operational relationship with no tracking of the information exchanged. That is unresolved legal exposure for every officer and for this city. State law requires body camera footage during assault investigations. Will the GEO allow that inside a federal facility? This MOU does not say. That silence protects GEO, not Aurora. Every person seated across from me tonight took an oath to this community, not DHS, not to a Florida corporation trading on detention bed counts. When the next assault is documented inside that facility, and the pattern says there will be, your name is on the agreement that gives GEO municipality legitimacy and asks nothing
Meg Reed, followed by Holly Chang. Meg Reed, followed by Holly Chang.
Hi. When I was a kid, I was taught that the police are our friends, that they can be counted on to serve and protect us. I am deeply ashamed at how long it took me to realize how utterly bullshit that is. We know what makes a community safe, and it is not front-loading the police department with cops who have a long history of excessive force, racism, etc. In this current administration, we're told that the only good American, this is national, federal administration, the only good American is a straight, white, wealthy Christian whose family has been here long enough to forget that they were once immigrants too. Trump's entire administration is in lockstep with deporting everyone who's not like them. People who have come here the right way, who have temporary protective status, so on and so on. They have to be stopped, but the administration needs to be stopped, but it'll be November at least before that happens. Until then, we have to hear these accounts and we have to say enough is enough. The Aurora Police Department has to be overhauled. ICE is full of thugs who weren't good enough for police departments like Aurora's. They're trained to be cruel, knowing that there will be no accountability. I've been volunteering with the families of people being detained in GEO, and without exception, every person has stories of cruelty just because ICE can. Until Aurora Police Department can be trusted to go into GEO and defend the actual rights of the people being detained, a huge number of whom, contrary to what the police chief said, have committed no crime, Aurora Police Department must not be allowed to assist in the cruelty. We must do better. Listen to your citizens, ditch the white privilege, and vote no on the memorandum of understanding, please.
Holly Chang, followed by Miriam Mata. Holly Chang, followed by Miriam Mata.
All right. I'm going to have to summarize a little bit because I got really worked up by Chamberlain. If you're going to push harmful policy, at least do your job well. It took me one click of a button. The latest statistics for Aurora GEO is 1,283 people detained and 22% with a criminal record. That is not the same as 67%. And I will be providing those numbers and facts to you when we meet about the budget. I am an Aurora resident. I also serve the community as a public health nurse. And to be honest, I wasn't sure that this MOU was all bad when I first read it. I am against criminalization. I don't think it really leads to safer communities. Prevention does that. But short of getting rid of this facility, which would actually benefit our neighborhoods the most, this is an opportunity to provide clarity on some of how our municipal resources are given to a for-profit company that's seen increasing stock prices on the backs of our neighbors and my patients. These resources are spent on this company to hold our neighbors, 22% right now of whom do not have criminal records, and without detention are over 90% likely to show up to their court dates, and that's an ICE statistic. But in true APD and GEO form, this MOU provides zero clarity or transparency. One way to get rid of how much this MOU would cost the city is to get rid of the clause about civil disobedience. I can only imagine how much it costs the city to send what looked like over 15 cops to get an older indigenous elder to stop burning sage on a sidewalk when I was at a vigil. According to advocacy groups, there have been assaults by guards in the past. This is clearly only in the interest of GEO, this MOU. It lays out how APD will respond, but it does not address any of the assaults by staff. Not one line answers how APD will respond if GEO staff are perpetrators of crimes. Not one line explains how those facing inhumane conditions, overcrowding, and emergencies inside can safely report out. Right now, we usually only learn about 911 calls when we CORA requests. What we do know from those CORA requests is that 911 calls are grossly underrepresenting the incidents and conditions inside due to fear and GEO medical oversight of those calls. Those of us that go inside, and I challenge any of you to go inside with us, we're not even sure that they can call 911 from their phones, and I ask people that have been doing this work for like 20 years. Any other country that disappears people to jails, to black holes, would be called fascist. Please don't sign this MOU. Those of us that go inside the facility deserve to be heard on this agreement. It should not be done behind closed doors.
Miriam Mata, followed by Victoria Kagande. Miriam Mata, followed by Victoria Kagande.
My name is Miriam Mata. I'm a resident in Ward 5, and I'm also an organizer with the Colorado Migrant Rights Coalition. I'm here to urge you to vote no on this MOU. This basically allows GEO and ICE to call on APD whenever it's convenient to them. How can we allow our police department to show up for GEO and ICE when they haven't been transparent about the conditions inside the facility? They've closed the doors to elected officials responsible for accountability and oversight. Closed doors means there's something to hide. It's easy to say only God knows, only Creator knows what's going on in there, and leave it up to Him and pray to Him for justice. But I know, my community knows, you all know, and if you don't, there's reports about it. We can't allow our police department to have a further hand in the violence and inhumane treatment that goes on in that facility. What bothered me the most about this is the inclusion of PREA, as if we have to be complicit with the work of GEO and ICE to protect survivors. Sexual assault occurs in these centers more than we know. Survivors should be able to make reports directly without the possibility of ICE or GEO getting in the way. SANE exams should be accessible to survivors always, and not up to the discretion of APD. Furthermore, it is our right to assemble and protest. How could we not use our right to show up for our people? How could we not want to shut down GEO? If you approve this MOU, you make it clear that you care about profits and you stand with GEO and not the people.
Victoria Kagande, followed by Matthew Donahue. Victoria Kagande, followed by Matthew Donahue.
I just said it, but I'll say it again. We are 17 weeks into this year, and 17 people have been murdered by ICE, the administration, and everyone who supports them. No other wording can be used. By this rate, at minimum, there will be 35 more dead humans added to a count that we can't even trust because they aren't giving us reliable information and they are barely letting us in. Over 73,000 humans, thousands of which are babies and children, are subjected to indescribable conditions, including but not limited to the withholding of medical treatment and care, letting illnesses run rampant, emergencies, sexual assault, rape, and death. Gathering information for criminal activity. Where have we heard that before? Especially when it comes to us communities of colors and minorities. It's the same argument for SAVE. It's the same argument here. Surveillance and suppression of this community is not what protects us. This will be used to target people who protest ICE, and all of us freaking know it. Why are we talking about the constant laws broken by ICE if you want to talk about law? How about we talk about the settlers that force indigenous people off their own land and have the gall to keep doing it today? I don't equate anyone's citizenship status to their human worth, so I don't believe citizens should be more protected than those who aren't. But if Aurora's own police chief already treats the citizens he supposedly protects with such blatant racism and anti-blackness, I'm sure you can imagine what would happen to the city when he doesn't have to hide his working with ICE anymore. There are families who have been trying to get to this council and get Todd Chamberlain to say that the murder of their family member was wrong, and how is that not enough? What is enough? Where's the line? Because by God, if you're tired of us talking about all this, then you should see our families who are living day after day under the threat of ICE and the police. We are so tired of having to come here week after week after week and meet these exact same failures and fight against this system. Vote no.
Matthew Donahue, followed by Magdalena Lewis. Matthew Donahue, followed by Magdalena Lewis.
Hello, Mayor, Council. My name is Matthew, and I'm an Aurora resident, and I'm here to demand the city fire Todd Chamberlain, shut down GEO, and reject the proposed MOU between ICE and APD. You say you're worried about escapees posing a risk to the community. Given strong public testimony tonight, I believe Aurora cops pose a far greater direct risk to the lives of the people. Why should we trust APD to keep us safe? Now, it is no exaggeration to say that the Trump regime has weaponized ICE as a paramilitary force loyal to him personally, in order to accomplish a racist, fascist political agenda. The Trump regime wields ICE authority in a brazen, targeted fashion. They detain and deport their political enemies, including students who write op-eds condemning the genocide in Gaza. ICE has terrorized Minneapolis for months now, merely because it is home to a vibrant Somali community and because Minnesota is a blue state that didn't vote for Trump. Aurora, as a city full of robust and vibrant immigrant communities, who's to say Aurora isn't next on the chopping block? And why would we collaborate with a federal agency intent on harming us? ICE illegally targets people on the street based solely on a person's skin color and accent. They refuse to abide by court orders around the use of force. We see once peaceful streets filled with pepper balls, tear gas, and bullet casings. They arrest people without judicial warrants. In short, they spurn the rule of law. ICE intentionally terrorizes cities with immigrant communities, as if they can bully us out of loving our neighbors, as if we aren't stronger and better for being a city where people from all over the world want to call home. In Minneapolis, ICE murdered Renee Good and Alex Preddy in cold blood with impunity. 2 citizens were murdered only days apart, with all investigations suppressed. The killers shielded from accountability. Sounds familiar. The same will happen here if Trump regime wills it. All it would take is for his dementia-addled mind to get bored, and he would deem Denver and Aurora as opportune targets for inflicting more crimes against the people. I visited people detained at the GEO detention facility. We know the conditions are abysmally inhumane. Little to no access to sunlight. People are paid $1 a day for working in the laundry and the kitchen. Multiple measles and chickenpox outbreaks and routine denial of medical care. Hundreds have died, preventable deaths in ICE custody with a sharp spike in recent months. These detention centers are better described as prison camps. They are reckless and cavalier towards human life and obedient only to the whims of a tyrannical regime. None of it is good for Aurora. It only lines the pockets of the private prison industry. They profit off human suffering. ICE and GEO will wring the fabric of our community dry in order to satisfy their greed. You will not be rewarded for kowtowing to the federal administration. If you give them an inch, they will take our lives. You should not be preparing to work out how APD shares information with ICE or how to increase APD's authority and power. You should be preparing to shut down GEO permanently and dismantle your murderous and corrupt police department. Do not approve the proposed MOU between ICE and APD and fire Todd Chamberlain. Thank you.
Magdalena Lewis, followed by Victor Meraz. Magdalena Lewis, followed by Victor Meraz. Victor Meraz, followed by Robert Chase.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Victor Meraz. I'm not an Aurora resident, but I am a resident of Colorado. I am a resident of this state that's full of immigrants. a resident of communities that surround your community as well in Aurora that uses the slogan, "The world in a city." The world in a city that houses a detention facility full of immigrants that are here to contribute to your nation and to your community. I don't know how you can sit here and listen to your constituents, you as public servants, public servants, listen to every single one of these people telling you, I'm a father telling you, I miss my son. How do you listen to that and not have anything stir inside of you? How do you listen to that and consider MOUs, still consider lavish and bogus remarks by the chief saying that there's criminals? There's been 3 people that have escaped since 2008 from that facility. An average, we'll round up 30,000 individuals were held in that facility. That is 0.01%. And that's what we're using as an excuse for public safety? Really? These council members, you all as council need to stop wasting time with bogus memorandums of understanding and shut this place down. It's time. Why are we doing this? Why do these people have to sit here and come every week and beg you to change something? And we're not listening.
And council, the last speaker is Robert Chase.
I'm Robert Chase. I'm a resident of Ward 2. I have had a chance to read the MOU, and I would like to address its points with a minimal amount of rhetoric. I must say, though, that I consider ICE to be a criminal gang. Its agents have murdered American citizens, as well as having done to death a number of immigrants. There is no reason for Aurora to cooperate with that institution any more than it is legally required. The MOU, most of the text of the MOU relates to how the city should respond in the case of escape. And the chief made mention of public safety concerns. I don't want to dismiss those entirely. If ICE can communicate explicit, accurate information that might be interpreted to mean that an escapee is an exigent threat to public safety, a murderer, someone who has committed a felony crime of violence, then an MOU, not this one, might provide for APD's assistance. Otherwise, there should be absolutely no question about APD assisting in the recapture of escapees. That is, to my mind, the most objectionable aspect of this memorandum, and in its present form, it should be rejected out of hand. The other minor, relatively less important point is this issue of civil disturbance. There do not appear to be any guidelines restricting the sharing of information. Under civil disturbance, there are 2 sentences. I'd like to read them. AIPC staff will work closely with APD regarding the sharing of information for civil disturbances, that is, protests that are scheduled to occur at or close to the facility. AIPC staff, in conjunction with ICE and APD, will develop a plan to protect the facility, the grounds, and surrounding areas to maintain public safety and order. This is absolutely unnecessary. The vigils that have been being held outside do not represent any conceivable threat to the facility or personnel. And I'd like to echo what a previous speaker said. The chief's very casual and inaccurate references to what is happening, the number of detainees, and his acceptance at face value of a verbal representation to him made to him by the director of ICE are unacceptable. Please reject this memorandum in its present form. There should be no question about APD spending public monies assisting ICE in the recapture of detainees. The memorandum makes reference to Colorado's statute prohibiting
City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've been asked by several council members about the parliamentary procedure. Since we use the certain rules of parliamentary procedure, we only do affirmative motions. So I know that there may be a desire by some council members to vote against this MOU. So the proper motion would be somebody who is for it to make the motion to approve it. And then when that motion is made, if it's seconded and it becomes a motion on the floor, those who are against it vote against that motion. We don't make negative motions under our rules of parliamentary procedure. The other way to do it is to make a motion to table it indefinitely. That kills it in essence if that passes, because it then has to be removed to be from the table by another vote later on. The third way to do it is it dies for a lack of motion or a lack of second. If it dies for a motion or lack of second, no motion is made and it deems failed. So just for the audience to understand, I'm the parliamentarian for council. I'm the dork. I know all the rules, and so I'm educating because it's the first time that this scenario has played out. So, Mayor.
Motion is in order for the adoption of item number 11A1. I move item 11A1. Moved by the mayor, seconded by?
Hancock.
Seconded by Councilmember Hancock. A discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on, I'm sorry, who's it?
I did.
Councilmember Horton.
Yeah, first I just want to thank everybody for speaking today around this MOU. You know, it was interesting data that was shared by the chief. I think I said this at last council session, is I think APD has had more robust conversations with the Geo Detention Center than anybody else, including elected officials that have oversight jurisdiction of the facility. It's very concerning that these numbers and data shared by the Geo doesn't align with the data being reported by many advocates, nonprofits, service agent organizations, lawyers, our own government counterparts in the Adams County Department. It is very concerning that the chief used pretty inflammatory examples that did not align with the message of misdemeanors. He talked about rape and murder versus the question that our Mayor Pro Tem Coombs brought up of even someone with theft, right, could constitute as a criminal charge and justification of detainment in the Geo Detention Center beyond their documentation status. And I think that this is not an MOU that speaks well of the city, of being able to have the amount of details and truly understanding between two entities, especially one that has continuously, especially in this last year, has seemed very untrustworthy.
Further discussion? Seeing none,
Mayor.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem.
Apologies for not speaking quickly enough. I just also want us to continue to look at the argument that GEO, as a contractor of the federal government, can exercise the full authority of the federal government, and I think that's a conversation we can continue to have moving forward. But it appears that there are some cases that undermine that argument and that we should look into those. And I think that we, as a council, as the city, should be doing everything that's in our power to stop the situations and conditions that the community has presented from happening. And I know we've gotten a lot of advice over the years, not just from our current city attorney, that there's nothing we can do. But I think we have to keep having the conversation about what we can do to regulate and to challenge those conditions.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of 11A1.
Councilmember Hancock.
Sorry, I'm having trouble. Yes.
I'm trying to vote online.
Councilmember Bergen, was that Councilmember Bergen? I didn't realize you were online, so I can take your vote manually. And how would you like to vote?
Yes. I'm a yes.
Okay. The motion fails with 6 yes votes and 4 no votes from Councilmember Bergen, Councilmember Gardner, Councilmember Hancock, and Councilmember Lawson.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. So the yes votes would pass it, the no votes would defeat it.
Sorry, it fails.
It's okay. So it's 6 no votes and 4 yes votes?
Correct.
Okay, you said it the other way, so I wanted to make sure. You said it passes with 6 yes votes, but it fails with 6 no votes.
It fails with 6 no votes.
Okay. So,
Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 11B3?
If I might, can I just brief real quickly what you're planning to do so we can limit the staff presentation unless you want a full staff presentation?
No presentations needed.
Okay, so on this, guys, I believe Councilmember Wiles is going to make a motion to continue this item. They're saying she doesn't need a presentation, so Mayor.
You're good. I just want to continue it until May 4th.
Okay, it's moved by Councilmember Wiles, seconded by?
I second.
Seconded by Councilmember Andrews to continue item number 11B3 to May 4th. Discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Lawson.
Yeah, Councilmember Wiles, can I just ask why you're wanting to continue? Because we had this in the beginning, and I'm just curious of why we're on the second reading. So can you just explain that for just public as well?
Absolutely. So we have gotten, or I have gotten, dozens of emails against this particular move, as well as about 30 social media messages and a ton of voicemails. And so I reached out to one of the developers today and said it appears that there still seems to be a lot of questions in the community, and because I represent the community, I want to make sure that their questions are answered. So we agreed that we will be holding a joint virtual meeting on the 29th where everybody can ask their questions. We can get it all out by the community. They can have their voice be heard as far as what they still need to know so that they feel comfortable, and then we can move forward.
Okay, so the developer is going to have that meeting with you? I'm sorry.
Yes, he is. He agreed. I'm going to set it up for him, but we agreed to do it together. I told him I'd back him up on it and get it together.
Councilmember Wiles, if you could share that information with the rest of council, because I know I'm getting inquiries as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, would the clerk now please read the title?
Well, we got to vote on it.
I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Mayor.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yeah, also, I do know that the developer did outreach to the community. I believe he had several meetings, several town halls, also put information in a newsletter, also went to management and finance. It then went to study session, and then it had a first reading. So I guess I'm just wondering what more information could possibly be given to the residents. And my understanding, and maybe Attorney Schulte could, and maybe Attorney Schulte, didn't the FRIA get voted on and passed? So this is the service plan.
So this is the second reading. So Again, as you know, Councilmember Bergen, I don't know what could come up before May 4th, but that's to be found. And if the council supports continuing it till May 4th, which happens quite a bit, then it's appropriate to do that. We just got to make sure we get it noticed correctly.
But, okay, but since we already approved the ARI, the FRIA, with the different tiers, then I guess I'm not understanding, since we already approved that, then what does this do on the service plan?
Brian. I'm going to refer to Brian.
Yes, Councilmember Bergen, this is deferring the passing of the service plan amendment for the Painted Prairie Metropolitan Districts. You are correct. The service plan, or I'm sorry, the IGA establishing FRIA itself, the entity, that passed at the last council meeting. That was approved by resolution. So nothing further for council to do on that. This is simply deferring the second reading of the ordinance approving the service plan amendment for the Painted Prairie Metropolitan Districts.
Right. Okay, thank you. And then I guess my point is that I think council members Wiles residents are maybe not understanding the tax implications on FRIA for the ARI, for the regional improvement districts, which would allow the different developers to then build out 56th Avenue, which also is and maybe this point was made, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well and just got home, but the fact they need to get that 56th Avenue improved so that the King Supers can go in. And I know the residents are really anxious to get a grocery store in their area. So I guess I just don't understand the delay.
Mayor, the delay is because I represent the community, and the community has reached out to me to say that they're not comfortable with this currently. So I'm going to get them the information that they need to be comfortable so that then we can move forward. But I represent them, and they have made their voice very clear. So I am holding a meeting so that they can get their questions answered and feel comfortable about where they're spending their money. As I explained when I sent my email to you earlier today, not everybody has time to attend some of those weekday M&F meetings or HOA meetings. People work all kinds of shifts. They work 2 jobs. Things are expensive. So if we have to hold one more meeting and allow them to come and have their voice be heard and their questions answered, then I will work a 12-hour day that day again and be there so that they can have their questions answered and we can return to this in 2 weeks. I don't think 2 weeks is going to delay too much the construction of King Supers. I think there are other things that would delay that, not just waiting 2 weeks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the Wiles motion to continue until May 4th.
Mayor?
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Bergen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hancock? The motion passes unanimously.
Will the clerk now please read the title to item number 11B4?
Item 11B4 is Ordinance 2026-10, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, approving the amended and restated Consolidated Service Plan for Painted Prairie Metropolitan Districts, numbers 10 through 12.
And I think Councilmember Wiles, this is the same as 11B3, so.
Yeah, I just want to move it back to May 4th.
It's been moved by Councilmember Wiles, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem to continue item number 11B4 to May 4th. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the Wiles motion.
Mayor?
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Bergen? Councilmember Hancock? Councilmember Horton? The motion passes unanimously.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 15A.
Item 15A is ordinance 2026-14, an ordinance annexing a parcel of land located in the southwest quarter of Section 25, Township 3 South, Range 66, west of the 6th Principal Meridian, County of Adams, State of Colorado, 2,496 acres.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Justin Andrews. I'm a project manager with the Office of Development Assistance. A petition for annexation was filed with the city clerk for annexation of a 2.496 acre parcel owned by Tapias LLC. This parcel is located at the northwest corner of East 26th Avenue and Piccadilly Road. That's northeast. Council made a finding of substantial compliance regarding the annexation on February 23rd, and the first reading for this annexation ordinance was held on the 6th of this month. Tonight's items 15A through 15C is consideration of the final readings for the annexation and the initial zoning ordinances, and consideration of the annexation agreement for approval. There's no presentation by staff or any PowerPoint, and I believe we have the property owner available for questions if there are any.
Questions of staff or the property owner? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
move to approve item 15A.
Moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Wiles to approve item number 15A. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 15A.
Councilmember Hancock, Councilmember Lawson. The motion passes unanimously.
Would the clerk now please read the title to item number 15B?
Item 15B is ordinance 2026-15, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aurora, Colorado, initially zoning a parcel of land measuring 2.5 acres, more or less, located at 22201 East 26th Avenue, northeast of North Piccadilly Road and East 26th Avenue, approximately 1,600 feet east of the intersection of Business Tech District, and amending the zoning map accordingly.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This request is for a zoning map amendment to initially zone 2.496 acres to I-1 industrial. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing to review the zoning map amendment request at a regular meeting held on March 11th of this year. Following staff's presentation, the commission voted to make recommendation of approval for the zoning map amendment.
Questions to staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
move to approve item 15B.
It's moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Wiles. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 15B.
Councilmember Hancock? Okay. Councilmember Lawson? The motion passes unanimously.
Clerk, now please read the title of item number 15C.
Item 15C is Tapias LLC Annexation Agreement.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you. 15C, this item is the annexation agreement which guides underlying property responsibilities with the annexation. The annexation agreement is compliant with the city's model. There is no presentation from the applicants, but happy to answer any questions.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
move to approve item 15C.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jackson. Yay. Councilmember Jackson to approve item number 15C. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 15C.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes. Oh, vote on this. Okay.
It's an annexation agreement. It's not a resolution.
Councilmember Coombs?
Look at you.
Councilmember Horton? The motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Reports, Councilmember Andrews.
Only report is you can follow me on social media. That's where I make most of my my statements. So it's at Rob Lee Andrews.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to report out on last Thursday, I had meetings of both the Cherry Creek Basin Water Quality Authority and the Mile High Flood District, both of which included approvals of projects that benefit the city of Aurora. There is financial contribution from the city, but both the Basin Authority and Mile High Flood District are also contributing to those projects, which will come forward to us for a vote. But needless to say, these are things that help make sure that we have both healthy water systems in our area, but also oftentimes access to outdoor recreational spaces where those waterways exist. And so we're thankful for those partnerships. I also attended the Public Defender Open House and participated in the first public art visioning session for the Aurora Art in Public Places MLK Library public art selection process. And then on the Rules Committee decorum process, we will have a meeting here at the Municipal Center in the Aurora Room on May 11th at 6 p.m. To listen to the community on the things that you all want to bring forward regarding how we should approach decorum in this chamber, both among ourselves as council, as well as between us and the community and one another. And we look forward to just, robust conversation with the community about what that shared opportunity to speak, mutual respect, and meaningful civic engagement looks like. With respect to the ADA chambers, we did have an update on April 1st, and then we've had a subsequent update that basically the city has started working with the contractor to draw up new plans, but also that community engagement and public engagement will be part of that planning process, both from the city and from the vendor. And hopeful to have that project moving forward into the summer. And then I was thankful to Ms. T, who mentioned Columbine, which happened 27 years ago. At the time, I was a sophomore in high school, and I saw coverage on the TV that I didn't believe. I was like, this has to be fake. This isn't a real thing. But learning that it was in fact real motivated me to come together with my peers and some of the adults in our community in the Denver metro area to really organize events and participate in our community to educate about interpersonal violence and the roots of interpersonal violence, as well as how we could stop it. And that really motivated me and led to me then connecting with other people who were opposing as well structural and systemic and state violence. And for me, that involved plugging into movements against war, as well as killings by police of people in our communities. Part of that included in Denver at that time, the movement that led to creating their police oversight body, because there were just such a large number of police killings happening, of unarmed people happening at that time. And so it's very interesting to be in this moment where now here in the city of Aurora, we're still looking to create that same oversight, to create that same accountability, and to address those same issues that over 20 years ago were being addressed in Denver by people that I was in community with and organizing with. And similarly, we continue and have continued for my entire adult life since that time and beyond to stare down the barrel of wars upon wars that kill people in our global community, more or less endlessly with our tax dollars. And of course, in the time since then, have also learned about the extensive violence against our immigrant communities, also using our tax dollars. And so when people ask why we stand up and treat this as radicalism or irrationality. I think we can really just stop and pause and think about the relationships between that interpersonal violence and interpersonal victimization and the state violence enacted in our names and with our dollars all day, every day.
Councilmember Gardner.
No report.
Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple updates. So over the past 2 weeks, I was able to meet with community partner Denver Aurora Community Action Committee, and I just wanted to shout them out because they had a really well-organized run meeting. They meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Again, Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. Along with the accessibility update that Mayor Pro Tem Coombs just gave, I wanted to shout out the specific consultant we're working with is called Accessibility Consulting Partners, and they're a consulting firm. So just wanted to add that to the accessibility update. And again, echo as part of the Rules Committee, again, for anybody who didn't hear it the first time, May 11th at 6 p.m. It's a Monday. We'll be holding a decorum listening session. So if you have strong opinions on how decorum, the way that we talk to each other, the way that we treat each other within public invite to be heard, should look and feel, and things that should be taken into consideration, please show up to that May 11th, 6 p.m. meeting so we can record your thoughts officially. And then I did just want to shout out a lot of the youth and children that came today to speak about the Aurora Saves program. That's definitely been added to my list. And I do just want to add that children and youth are a marginalized body of people, because if you're under 18, you cannot vote. Children were viewed and still in some places are viewed as property and don't have a lot of rights and are told to kind of sit down, be quiet, go with the flow. And there aren't a lot of ways for our youth and children to organize and use their voice to impact systematic change. So shout out to them for coming out here, and we'll definitely follow up with some information and look into data for the, I believe it was success ratings. I'll go back and look at the recording for the Aurora Saves program. That's my update.
Councilmember Horton.
Thanks, Mayor. So the past 2 weeks, some of the more notable things that I was up to is I attended the Public Defender's Open House. I really appreciate being able to attend their meeting. They gave each other some awards, really celebrating the work that they have been able to do on behalf of their clients. I also attended the Fitzsimmons board meeting that I attend monthly. I do want to share that there's some good ideas on how to utilize the existing land while development of what the future could look like. Really excited what's being potentially proposed, which will come to council, right, Jason? It will come to council? Right, yep, it will come to council, is using the space for soccer fields. And I think there's in the interim, right, as things get developed in the area. I was invited to learn about Senior Planet Colorado. They're located on the Denver side of Lowry, but they service a lot of Ward 1 residents, particularly our elders. And so their mission is to provide, to educate and provide technical services for seniors, all the way from, how to log into a computer to utilizing artificial intelligence. And I thought the work that they do is really beneficial. They offer a variety of different classes. And yeah, just really appreciate that invitation. Also recently attended the Aurora Chamber of Commerce banquet and was able to really celebrate a lot of what the business industry has done and continues to do. David with the I always get it messed up. FALCK. Yes, that word. The services was given an award, so I think it speaks volumes to the work and services that are provided across our city. And 2 upcoming events as the Ward 1 Town Hall. It is not going to be at Moorhead, where it traditionally has been held. We're switching it up this quarter. It's going to be at the MLK Library. There's going to be 3 presentations, so it'll be a packed agenda. First is Save the Aurora Reservoir Group, coming to talk about all things environment and what does it mean to have living spaces that are green. The second is an update around the consent decree. The report did just drop last week, the 10th one, as well as the independent monitor's retrospective summary. Happy to send those links to anyone who's interested. And then the last presentation for the Ward 1 Town Hall this Thursday is PAR, our police area representatives, giving a few of their updates. The second event is a Know Your Rights training. That is having, spent my career working with in the youth violence prevention industry. Summer it can be a very dangerous time for our young people. Youth violence just has an uptick, and so the amount of resources and its intentionality that is needed from the city and from our community partners is paramount. And so that Know Your Rights training is going to be Thursday, May 7th from 6 to 7 at the ABC Community Hub. Lyric, which is a curriculum and organization called Learn Your Rights in Community. Their mission is to educate young people about their constitutional rights through workshops led by volunteer attorneys and law students. So if you are a young person, you have young persons adjacent to you, families, parents, guardians, or you just simply want to know your rights, you're welcome to attend. And please see me and I can get that information over to you as well. Thank you.
Councilmember Wiles.
Thank you. I also attended the chamber event. It was a great event. Lots of small businesses in Aurora that need our business, so make sure you're checking them out. I also had a meeting with Denver Council member Stacy Gilmore to talk about the Navigation Center and how we can partner better since it's right on the edge between both of our areas. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Columbine. It was on my notes to talk about today. We had 13 lives lost in addition to subsequent lives lost due to suicide or long-term injury from the shooting that had happened. And I think what was more telling is that I don't think we've learned a lot, unfortunately, since that shooting. There have been hundreds more, and it's on us to do better for our youth. They're showing up to talk at our meetings, and every day they go to school, it could be a war zone, so we need to do better. We're the adults, we're responsible for change. There are lots of great volunteer opportunities coming up. The Highline Canal has some walking series and cleanup days. There is a guy named Nelson on social media. His handle is Fat Black and Getting It. He is awesome and he organizes so many great events. So follow him so you can attend some of those cleanup sessions. There's also the Walls Project happening here. There's a tree planting on April 26th, and on the 22nd, they are doing some work at Ponderosa Elementary. So if you'd like to get involved with that, please do. And then finally, I want to shout out the Aurora Tidal Waves. Yesterday, I was at the Special Olympics swimming event. I was doing their photography, and the Aurora team, the Tidal Waves, showed up strong. They had some great swimmers with amazing attitudes, and so there are additional events coming up, not swimming, but soccer, track, etc. They need volunteers, so if you have the time, join me. I'll be out there. Thank you.
Councilmember Hancock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just in case you didn't know, April 19th through the 25th is National Library Week. These pamphlets are all over the city, and they're also available online. I would encourage you to take advantage of these. There's so many cool, fascinating, and free things going on throughout our library. It's a plethora of things for kids, children, tweens, seniors, awesome activities. Also under Library and Cultural Services, the Spring Catalog for Aurora Creates. I love this. The new home for arts opens in the Aurora Cultural Arts District. And as you know, for years I worked in the district producing plays, working at the various theaters and other venues in there. They just recently repurposed the 1400 Dallas Street space. I'll be taking a tour there this week to look at the new and improved things that they have going on in there, opportunities for artists artists to use that space for creation of art and dance and theater and podcasts and all kinds of cool, really cool things. So take advantage of those things. This is summer, it's coming up, and, since we, traditionally, young people found jobs in like McDonald's and Burger King. My first job was working in the back of the house of a kitchen. Sadly, these jobs don't seem to exist anymore, leaving our young people adrift and not, able to find creative or productive things to do with their time. But there are organizations out there that do amazing things with young people. And one that I've had the opportunity to meet with is Colorado Uplift. They're a community organization that has been around for some 40 years. And the director, Dr. Joseph Sanders, he's the chief executive officer. They just occupied a space on Dayton Street, the former church right on Dayton, and it was a Baptist church. They are doing a capital campaign to refurbish, revive, restore, but they have programs available right now. You can reach out to me and I can give you more information about that. But Colorado Uplift is a well-established organization that helps empower young people through sports, wellness, opportunities, fitness. They are a trusted leader in character education, leadership development, and long-term mentoring for youth of all ages. They've served over 4,000 students annually across Denver, Aurora, and Westminster. Another great organization that's right here in Aurora is called The Road Called Straight, STRATE. They're in the building right next to the fire department on 16th Street. This organization deals with empowering at-risk youth to be, again, good stewards of their own lives, because eventually they're going to be full-fledged adults, and sometimes they need to have some structure, support, guidance. If you fall off track, there's always somebody there that is available to help you get back on course. We all make mistakes. It's not the falling down, it's the getting up that matters. And their programs really help empower young people to be really good stewards of their lives and make really awesome decisions. I had the rare and exceptional honor to receive a Quilt of Valor. The Quilt of Valor Foundation, what it does is it recognizes veterans. As you know, I'm a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, and so they recognize veterans for service. And I was part of a group of a dozen veterans from Vietnam era, and I know, Mayor, you have also been a recipient of the Quilt of Valor. This was a really amazing honor, and I brought this quilt because I told them I was going to give them a shout out. And these quilts are handmade. They take over 40 hours of work, these ladies, and it's a huge quilt. You can wrap yourself up in it. It's really great. And since I was in the Air Force, there's my Air Force emblem on there, which is super cool. And they've given over 40,000 quilts to veterans across the country. So if you know a veteran that you feel any veteran who's served, who's given their time, their treasure, their youth, their service. We had some gentlemen who served 30 years in the military, and freedom is not free. There are people who have given their time and their treasure to and lives of service to this community, and also, for young people who, like myself, when I was 17, didn't know what I was going to do with my life, but I knew that the Air Force was an opportunity for me to change the trajectory of my life and lead me into a lifetime of service. And I got to see the country and change the paradigm of how I thought. I got out of my 6 blocks and went across the country and then eventually across the world to see that people want the same things. They want freedom. They want the government off their backs. They want to be able to raise families and have a safe place for their kids. And so to receive this honor is probably one of the highlights of my life, to be able to have that, because it's nice to get your flowers while you're still able to smell them. So it was a really great opportunity. I encourage you to Consider nominating someone for this Quilt of Valor. You can go online to quiltsofvalor.org and nominate a veteran, because we have a lot of veterans that could certainly appreciate this honor. I have one other thing this week thank you very much. There's one other thing this week that we will be doing. We're going in the next few weeks to, hello. I will be reading this week at Meadowwood Child Development Center. We're going to have a reading program, and we're going to paint rocks. So I get to hang out with 3- and 4-year-olds, and we're going to read stories, and we're going to paint rocks, and we're going to celebrate the opening of their brand new play park at the school. So that's my report tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Councilmember Medina got out of order here.
That's all right. I'm usually there. Sorry about not being there, but didn't want to get everybody sick. Yeah, I was able to do a cleanup at the Delaney Farm with a group called the Community Church, Society Church. There was approximately 70 people there. I brought my daughter and my grandchildren there to help. So they had a bunch of projects. They were doing some trail maintenance, make sure to level them and add some gravel to them. They were also doing some tree mitigation with beavers so that they wouldn't be chewing up every single tree in the area. And then they had a huge trash pickup. So I took my little ones, 3- and 5-year-olds, to go and clean up. We did a pretty good job, I think, of cleaning up the Delaney Park area, and look forward to doing some more of those in the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lawson.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I want to thank all of my residents that attended my Saturday meeting at Heather Gardens. I will be having my meeting tomorrow at 6:30 at Mission Viejo. We will have detention and court administration. That's the same one that we had on Saturday, and I'll give my updates. I do appreciate Candace and all her staff from being there. The residents really did get a lot of good information. Also to myself, Mayor Kaufman, Councilmember Hancock, and Councilmember Bergen went to Washington, D.C. to advocate for our priorities. Last year, we did get 5 congressionally directed spending projects approved, and a total of $12.1 million. This year, we have 2. One is for the roof for the Navigation Center. The second one is for a regional fire truck. So we went there and we talked to all of our delegation, which included Congressman Crow, Congressman Bennett, Congressman Crow, Senator Bennett, Senator Hickenlooper, and also Congressman Boebert's office, and Congressman Gabe Evans. So we talked to all of those delegations and their staff, and we also went to HUD. We also went to the annex of the White House, and we talked to some of the administration there. I think it's really important, even though people don't really realize it, it's important that we got Aurora's name out there, because we do have a lot of advocacy at the federal government when it comes to Aurora and our congressionally directed spending and specific projects. So I want to thank all of my mayor and Councilmember Hancock and Councilmember Bergen for a lot of work. It's a very fast-paced trip. We're just on the move. I do want to thank all of you for all of your dedication and to participating in that trip. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank, I think where Councilmember Bergen is not.
She might still be on track. Councilmember Bergen texted me. She said that she wasn't feeling well again, so she came off. So
I want to thank Councilmember Lawson, who's chair of the Federal State Intergovernmental Policy Committee, for her leadership in organizing the trip, as well as Liz Rogers, who's our Intergovernmental Affairs manager for the city, and in terms of her leadership in organizing the trip. I had a town hall meeting last Saturday, and I want to thank Shoni Klein from Aurora Water for doing an incredible presentation on what the drought situation is in our city and what that means in terms of water restrictions. Normally post on Mike Kaufman Facebook, so please go there to get updates. And with that, we have public invited to be heard.
First speaker is Albertus Simmons, followed by Javier Castillo. Javier Castillo, followed by Ayante Anderson. Ayante Anderson, followed by Median Schaffner.
As you debated tonight about intergovernmental agreements and various contracts, this is going to be a sentence I don't think any of you all thought you would ever hear. I am going to be asking that this council begin to look into raises for the men, women, and people in blue. And no, not the APD, but the allied universal individuals that protect you all, this chamber and this building, for the last some odd years, have not received any wage increase within the last 4 years. And no, I didn't need to speak to any of them to get that information. That information's readily available. I do believe that if you all are about paying people a living wage, those who are carrying badges in the name of your city council for this chamber should be able to receive a living wage. It may be even time to discuss what does it look like to make those individuals employees of your city and allow them to be in a union. They should not have to wait for council or for their bosses and a contract to be negotiated in order for them to earn a living wage. We know everything in this economy is up. Gas, rent, food, etc. Especially during this administration, which resembles Scar from The Lion King. So I am encouraging you all to begin those conversations of what it looks like to give wage increases with those who you partner with for your safety. They deserve that. Their families deserve it. And if they're going to continue to protect you, you deserve it too. So that's all I have to say this evening as we close out. I really do hope that that is a discussion you all can begin to have, is how we pay the people that are supposed to protect this chamber, protect this building, and protect all of you. Give them a raise. 4 years, 4 years. And that conversation has not happened. So to the new majority, since it acts like only y'all only do the work most of the time, I hope that you all will begin to get to work on that. For those who are on the minority, I hope that you will also value people being paid a living wage. And I hope that you will support that. I hope that it does come up in the future soon, though.
Median Schaffner, followed by Aaron Futrell.
So as I listen tonight, I also just want to acknowledge the young people that came out here tonight to speak with intention about what is happening with the very ironic name of Aurora Saves. So I just want to say to you, Councilperson Jackson, we too are taking note, and we are going to, as on the community side, lean in to see what type of supports we need to be offering and what entry points of challenge exist for us, because the model is that there are nonprofit or community leaders that are going inside of these homes to deliver these letters. And that is a call to our side of this in our position to ensure that we are challenging those leaders who are behaving that way, because that is harmful and that is damaging. I also want to say that I took, as my leadership journey continues with working with the families that are impacted by the harms of Aurora, I took pause recently and intentionally because City Manager Jason Batchelor, I got word and I hear that you are advising that there are 420,000 residents of Aurora, and it's only a few people that feel like Todd Chamberlain should not be in the position that he's in. So I took pause, and you haven't heard me speak into that for the last few council meetings. And so what we have done is we have said that we are going to seek more perspective to identify if there are more people that just simply have not had the capacity to come into this space and speak their narrative. And so we've done some diligence, and we are going to report that back to you of just how many people in this city actually do have that position. And we are going to report back to you just how many people do not have that position, because I think that that's information that likely you might not have access to, that we want to be able to deliver to you so that you can make an informed decision. I'm also wise enough to know that this work is going to continue to take collaboration. So whomever is in the positions that they are in, we are ready to be collaborative, and we will be intentional with that, despite, because it's not about one person or the role that they play. It's about a collective approach to get different outcomes. And the last thing that I'm going to say is a response to Councilperson Stephanie Hancock. I don't know if you knew you were sitting in the wrong chair the whole time. I'm not sure if anybody told you, but I just want to make sure I tell you that. But ultimately, you gave a report that you're going to be going to an elementary school to paint rocks with 3- and 4-year-olds. I am pretty sure, and I'm going to confirm, there's a family that we work with where their grandchild is in that school, in that 3- to 4-year-old range. You are going to be a trigger for that family. And so we are going to let them know, so that way they can decide.
Aaron Futrell, followed by Carol Baker.
Good evening, Honorable Council, and Mayor. In the few steps that it took me to get down here and speak, I was supposed to be here earlier, but I was at work. But I said a quick prayer for everybody up there, and there's a reason, because there's a buzzword that we were talking about earlier called empathy, and the resolution that Rob Andrews has talked about in a study session was saying that you guys could practice empathy. Not trying to attack any of you guys. I think you guys are doing an amazing job. But Councilmember Hancock, you talked about reading. If you actually read the resolution and did the reading comprehension, there's nothing anti-cop. And I'm bringing this up because I came full circle this past weekend as I was coming home from a part-time job off of Moline and Mississippi. There was a horrible accident. Fatality was involved. The APD and first responders did a wonderful job, and it got me thinking about the mental health crisis that the young man had the other day. APD again did a wonderful job de-escalating that situation, but the men and women of APD could also use the prayers and sympathy. So I get both sides of it, but at the same time, showing compassion and humanity, that shouldn't be a resolution. That should just be common sense. That's all I have to say.
Carol Baker, followed by Ellen Wu.
Good evening. I am Carol Baker. I am a resident of Aurora, Ward 5. Let's pull this up again here. I had this all set once, I really did. What do I want to say? There it is. So I want to share with you something I was concerned about that I learned about on social media this week, because that's where we get a lot of what we know, right? And I want to address that here. This council approved the hiring of 3 new administrators. The impression I get from social media is that members of the newly elected council requested this hiring of additional staff, and that it was due to being overwhelmed by the amount of work required by the council. I don't know about the accuracy. I don't know that it matters how accurate that is. Any given detail could be wrong. But in this case, I want to recognize the significance of the impressions, significance that there is to the impressions that float around the community. Whether they are voiced on social media, mainstream media, or around dinner tables, first impressions seem to last. If there is factual information that would lead us to form opinions that are sound, then the city may be well served to mount a public relations campaign to correct attitudes in the community. Be careful what you ask for. The risk is that it could look like an elected council member ran for office as a political activist. That strikes some as different than offering to be a public servant. There are engaged citizens that don't appreciate a political activist as an elected representative, whether it's on the left or on the right. We'd rather see a public servant. Be careful. It could look like there are political activists that want jobs, not only for income, but for opportunity to be in the vicinity of policymakers. Could it look like applicants to these newly created positions would also be political activists sharing the beliefs of the council member? Could it look like this was a contrived plan from before the election? If that is not the case, but that is an impression that may be floating around the community, and I hope it's not the case. If it's not the case, you may want to do a lot to let us know that it's not. If it is the case, then let's all be careful that we don't let something starting now become a trend that takes hold. Thank you.
Ellen Wu.
To those that are in this chamber and outside of the chamber, it does not matter if you were elected, hired, or appointed, you're accountable to the people. This includes financial responsibility. You're not in the position for self-financial enrichment, political gain, personal gain. Some of you are in the political playbook of continuing spinning false narratives, hurtful and hateful words and actions, and using the blame game. Some of you are deflecting onto others your failures and mistakes. If you're looking for blame for the budget deficit, look in the mirror, look at your votes. Some of you voted for the dissolving of the occupation tax. Some of you voted for tax incentives. Stop giving away money. Do what Seattle did. Start taxing big business. Bring back the occupation tax. Start investing in the people. The generations of neglect continue and will continue. Consider Think. It is an effective tool for mindful communication designed to filter speech before speaking. It encourages pausing to consider if words are true, if that is what you're saying based on facts, rather than gossip or assumptions. Helpful. Will your words improve the situation or offer support? Inspiring. Do your words encourage, motivate, or uplift others? Necessary. Does this need to be said, or isn't it better left unsaid? Kind. Are your words considerate and compassionate? May 1st is the beginning of National Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We need to remember those of the AA and HPI community. We need to also acknowledge what their contributions are and our heritage. I am the child of Chinese immigrants. The Chinese Exclusion Act, 1882, is in my heritage. The riots of October 31st of 1880 destroyed the Denver Chinatown. That was the first racial riot in Denver. One man was lynched. And it also brings up the issue of, we talk about veterans, we talk about serving. Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islanders have served in every American war since the Civil War. They have contributed, and there is been no recognition, there's been no acknowledgement of their contributions. So before you start talking about veterans and serving this country, pause and think of everybody who has served and those that have been forgotten and lack acknowledgement.
That was the last speaker.
I'm sorry.
The Colorado Freedom Memorial does have every veteran that has served that they found, every ethnicity.
That's correct.
That's not true. That's not true.
Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council, meeting is adjourned.